Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically, take one scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple. It's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just one scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving and you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, one scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/OLLC. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/OLLC to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit athleticgreens.com/OLLC. and get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. athleticgreens.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.
Yeah.
Check. Okay, microphone check.
Yeah. Check.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. I got my brother from another mother here today, Mr. Derek Green. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Toby.
Love having you.
Thanks
and
for
as I've noticed
me.
lately, a lot of the listeners love having you. They love having your voice. They love your questions.
Well, I love being here, so thanks for having me.
And you're a great
I
asset
appreciate
to the
that.
pod, so I appreciate you being here.
Word.
I'm going to be going on tour soon and leave you behind like you did for me last summer. But I've been waiting 3 years to go on tour.
Hopefully not too long.
And today we have Mr. Winston McCall. I said your name.
That is.
Okay.
That's my name, man.
Parkway Drive.
Yeah.
Thank you for being Thank you for always fuck up names.
He usually does.
Thank
yeah.
you
That's
for
all
being
good.
here, man.
Oh, my pleasure.
I've seen you guys perform maybe somewhere on tour. We played a festival with you guys.
You ain't got to lie. Come on.
No,
man.
me and Max watched them. I forgot where it was. We watched from a certain watching section. I don't know if it was raining or not. We played a festival sometime somewhere, but yeah. Thanks
I
for
know
being
we've
here.
crossed paths before.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I was remembering somewhere. I'm pretty certain we crossed paths years ago in Japan.
Whoa.
Okay.
Were you guys on that? There was like a Japanese festival which was majority of New York hardcore bands.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
It was like
I forgot the name.
I
have the
Eruption.
name. I have it on my
It was the
wall.
wildest lineup ever.
It was like H2O,
Yep.
Bouncing Souls,
Madball.
Sick of It All, Madball, Hazen Street.
Harley's War. Harley's War, man.
Yo, you were on that?
Okay,
We
this
were
is back
on
in
that
the day,
because we
though.
were like, this is basically all of New York hardcore's history right here, and then Parkway. Like, what are we doing on here? And then there was a bunch of there was
you
like
told me
Loyal to
some
the
stories
Grave and
about that.
Sand and a whole bunch of Japanese hardcore bands. And
Oh my God,
It was a
it was a
trip.
crazy festival.
so weird. So
So you did
weird.
all the festival shows you had. It was a couple shows, right?
No, we only did one. We did like
Okay.
one off show the day before that, and then that show, and it was the biggest trip out for us. And it was just so strange because like we stuck out like a sore thumb, but at the same point in time, I'm like, this is all of my New York hardcore dreams coming true on the one gig in Tokyo,
Of all
like
places.
2005.
Underdog.
Yeah, underdog, man.
Underdog?
Underdog.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
dude.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think Sick of It All was on there too.
yeah. Sick of it all. We're there. Yeah.
Yeah, Harley's War. Bro,
Wow.
it was crazy, man. I know the name begins with an M. I'll pull it out later in my head.
The name of the festival.
Yeah.
Magma.
Magma Festival.
Magma. That's it.
Boom.
It was weird, like big blow up things there and all kinds of.
So strange, man.
It's a good show though. It's a good
Yeah,
crowd.
It was great. I've got so many funny memories from that, but I was just like, holy crap, that's the first show we would have played together because we would have been like a band for like 3 years at that point.
Wow, man.
So there you go. There's a blast from the past.
Well, welcome. So you haven't been in LA in like 4 years, you were saying?
Yeah,
huh?
4 years, man.
4 years.
Wow. And
Yeah.
this is like your tour's kicking off tonight in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's your
Alright.
first kind of tour in a while, right?
Yeah, we did Europe a couple of months ago for the first one back, which was a full-on head spin as well.
Yeah.
And this is our first stateside one, and we're still like easing back into just the concept of touring again.
What was
Like-
so trippy about doing?
It was just weird, like coming back after we literally did one show in 3.5 years, and then we come back to our first tour back in Europe, and it was arenas as well, and you go from like,
Wow.
oh, you don't see people for like 3.5 years, you're so disconnected from this thing that you've been doing for 17 years straight, and then all of a sudden you're doing an arena gig as your first one back. It was just
Crazy, yeah.
just odd, like amazing, but you've got the oddness of all of a sudden being around a crowd for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
but the energy of it, you forget it really all bled out of like, I'm speaking for me, but I know for the rest of the band, like that muscle memory of standing
Right.
on stage,
Yeah.
and you know that energy that comes back at you, and that I'd forgotten what it actually felt like, and then you stand on stage in a situation like that and feel it from having, it's not like you've got tour after tour after tour, like you've built up to it a little bit. It's just like bang, straight in the face, like here it is. And I was floored. We were all completely floored of just like, this is what it is that we do. Like I've never had like a clean slate like that. You've got 17 years from starting a band, playing thousands of gigs, where you become accustomed to just the feeling of being on stage and having an audience there, and that energy and the vibe that builds up.
Yeah.
And even though it gets bigger or it stays the same, it's incremental. It's not just like 0 to 100. And this was like 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And it just punched me in the head in a really awesome way. But
Yeah.
like I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I'm still in that mindset.
Because obviously you have like you're home with your wife, you're surfing, you're living your life, and you're off tour, you're making the best of the situation we were in. And then because I've been touring, he's been touring a bunch the past year and a half, because he was home straight like me as well.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Europe in 3 years. I'm going there in March. I cannot wait.
Oh yeah.
And so like you don't realize that part of you that's missing.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
definitely.
Because you're trying to survive during the past couple of years. Like if you're just
Right.
kind of sitting still for the first time, not touring.
Yeah,
Like what is my purpose?
right.
What am I
Yeah.
doing besides skating or surfing or whatever
It's
else?
a weird feeling, man, because you feel almost like you have to reinvent yourself in a way. I thought it would be like so easy to snap back. I was like, oh, I bet once everything starts flowing, I'll be right back in the mix. And it's like, no, everything has changed. Everything's different.
Yeah.
That energy you appreciate it much more.
Yes.
And I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah,
where it's
man.
just like mind blowing, where you're trying to get your mind around it. Like, this is what I do. And
Yeah.
it's insane because you forget
You forget
shocking.
kind of? kind of forget, right?
I mean, you kind of do, but it's shocking.
feeling.
Yeah, but you're right. You do kind of forget certain things, certain movements, and then I just found myself like starting from scratch. Like
Scratch,
you said,
man.
It's just like, okay, what am I gonna do? It's like reborn into being on stage again. It's
Yeah.
a weird,
Yeah.
weird feeling.
It's being reborn into
Yeah.
the art that you like. You're finding a new place within your own art. Which
Yeah.
is such a bizarre
Yeah.
concept as like a creator or a co-creator in like in an art form that's really personal. And all of a sudden, it's like, nope, you don't exist there anymore.
Yeah.
But then you're thrown back into the situation and you're able to reinterpret it.
Yeah.
It's like you're your own remix.
Yeah. And then going from like barely no human connection, just friends and family,
Yeah.
to like thousands of strangers and there's people that love your band, love
Yeah.
your music, and
That can
that
be-
connection is
It's intense. It can be
so
a little
pure and
overwhelming
beautiful,
at
though.
first, but then you get really into it.
But so essential.
Exciting.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
essential.
Do you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Yeah.
Like when they were breaking down all the essentials of what's next to come back. I know music at the bottom of the totem pole was like, when's music coming
Oh,
back?
dude.
Because it brings
Yeah.
people together
Yeah, of
and
course.
it fixes your heart and your soul and I don't know, man. It's so important.
Oh, 100%. It's man, music is there to give voice to what you don't have the ability to give voice to in your own
Yeah.
language, with your own physicality, with your own emotion. Like music is the way of giving that part of you, that emotional piece, space and outlet. And when you're stuck in like a constant cycle of trauma, which was what COVID was, of the unknowing and
Yeah.
everything, and you don't even have a way of being able to express yourself, man, like
Get it out.
how did people not figure out how important it was that this should be something which is given like more of a priority in terms of mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that
Yeah, that's a great point.
just like the mental health side of things of all of this stuff that's going on is nuts in the first place. But like, yeah, what music gives for people in terms of, yeah, that aspect of clarity and healing and catharsis and all of that it's priceless. Like that's why.
Yeah.
Besides the communal part of things, like that's why music exists, man.
Yeah. Because I know what it does for us for the music we listen to, we're into. You know what I mean? If we feel the same way,
Yeah.
the way people feel about our bands, you know what I mean? Like we listen to the music and the lyrics and how it changed our lives and inspired us and get us through hard times, the same record, the same song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It's so crazy. Well, I'm glad we're here and talking.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh, Dan Smith says hi, by the way, too.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
He wanted me
What
to
up, Dan?
He wanted
Haven't
me-
seen
he
him in
wanted me to
years.
bring up something about eating something or growing up and hanging out in your town, your parents making ginger nectar.
Yes.
he
I'm
misses
so
the-
proud that he remembers that. Yeah,
He
boy.
misses those memories. You know
Oh,
what I
that's
mean?
great. Yeah, yeah.
And about how your town, Byron Bay, how it was like a small town, but now it's like a really popular place.
Oh, dude, it's nuts. Oh, yeah. You want the story of Byron?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
crap. So, yeah,
That's
Dan,
where you're born and raised?
I was actually born in Sydney.
Okay.
I moved to Byron when I was 7, I think. So I've spent most of my life there.
You got siblings too?
Yeah, brother and a sister.
Cool.
Twins. They're
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Yeah. My brother was in a hardcore band in Australia called 50
Identical or
Lions.
fraternal?
No, not identical. Look completely different as well.
Right.
Older
is-
brother?
Younger.
What's
younger.
it- what's
they're
his band
both
called?
younger. His band's called 50 Lions.
I might have heard that name for sure.
Yeah, they're not active anymore, but they're
Okay.
really fucking good. Really good. So our town was the escape for my parents' generation, who grew up in the cities and everything. It's it is beautiful. It's
Yeah, it is.
it's a really beautiful part of the world. It's right in this area of coastline where it's subtropical. There's a rim of these mountains, which is around the core of this extinct volcano, which is stunning.
Wow.
The beaches are stunning, crystal blue water. It's on this cape. The whales migrate every year. It's nuts. So a lot of people went there. There's really good surf. A lot of people went there for the surf originally. It was screw working in the city. I'm just going to go there and I'm going to surf and I'm going to live off basically government welfare, which is called the dole in Australia. And that's
Wow.
what it was known for.
Right.
when it in the 80s and early
I think
90s.
my son's going to move there.
Yeah,
Sounds
dude. It had a reputation for a long period of time of there would be news shows constantly doing it had the highest unemployment rate in the country.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And
boy.
people would just have no job and surf.
Well, that
And-
would be a problem after a while.
Yeah, yeah. It was literally
I mean-
it was nuts. When we grew up, there was only a high school, and I think it started in the early 90s or something. It's the first time we even had a high school in the area.
Wow.
So you had no way of getting out of the town, really. Like, if you wanted to live there, you subscribed to the fact that you were just going to live that life forever. You're going to live in a caravan or a little beach shack for the rest of your life, and you'd wash dishes and you'd make coffee, or you'd like run a surf camp or something like that. And that was kind of it. Or you'd leave and you'd go to the big city. So we spent our lives like trying to get the fuck out of there.
Okay.
It was really nuts. Like we all grew up just at the beach surfing, but you knew that there was nothing there for you. And then we started this band, and it just kind of rolled on into this thing, which is why we're just like, hey, let's just go with this, because we've got no hope of doing anything in our own.
You started it there?
Yeah, we started in Byron. Yeah.
Was there like a music scene there?
No, so here's the story. This is like Dan's part of this as well. There was nothing.
Day of Contempt, yeah.
Day of Contempt. So they were very early on in the piece of bands coming to our town. So what happened was we had really nothing. Like, it's a tourist town. And when it's a tourist town, most of the industry is aimed towards the people who are coming to spend money, which is obviously adults.
Yes.
There was no entertainment for the youth. It was like we all started drinking when we were like 14, this kind of thing. You'd just get hammered in the park and you'd surf, and that was it. It's literally all it was. And then like punk rock became massive, because punk rock was the soundtrack to all the surfing movies at that point in time. Taylor Steele just putting it on.
I was on one of those soundtracks.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go.
Wow, Fletcher got us on one of those. Thank you, Fletcher Pennywise.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was huge. And then that led into hardcore, because like slowly the music like became less, like punk became less cutting edge in terms of your adrenaline. You went for something a little harder, a little faster, and it kind of became the avenue into hardcore. And
Interesting.
And there was one band in town, who were called Think Straight, who were a punk rock band who turned into a hardcore band, and that was our guitarist's band.
Think Straight?
Think Straight, yeah.
Cool name.
Weren't actually a straight edge band, but called Think Straight anyway. And we slowly started putting on shows in our town, and there was like 10 people or something like that would come to these gigs in just halls, because we had no venues.
Yeah.
A couple of bands toured through the pub occasionally. I think there was like Toe to Toe and 59 Times.
I remember Toe to Toe. We played with him a bunch too.
Yeah. So they came
Legends.
through like once, I think, and it was at the pub, and everyone sat like out the back in the gutter listening through the wall, because you couldn't get into the pub because we were too young.
Wow.
And then eventually like Graham Nixon from Resist Records sent one of his bands up called Irrelevant, and put on a show in our town in a hall, and there was, I don't know, it would have been 100 kids, which seemed mental at that point in time. We were like, who are all these people?
Right.
They're circle pitting, people are stage diving. What is this thing? It was like first full-on hardcore show we'd ever had.
Yeah.
And from that point on, we're like, holy crap, we can do this thing. We can put on shows ourselves. So we had like a group of about 4 of us who were between the ages of 16 and 19 who just started putting on shows. And the local youth center, the girl that ran that at that point in time was like, nothing happens in this shed. You guys can put a show on here if you want. We found a sound guy from like up in the hills who had a PA, and we'd hire him out for like whatever we could afford, like $200 for the night. He'd set the PA up, floor show, local bands would play, and then Graham started sending more bands our way.
Cool.
And Day of Contempt started touring, like came through, and it turned into this proper scene to the point where any international tour that came through Australia would be like the major cities. It would be like Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, and then Byron Bay. And it was
so cool.
It was so wild, because like they'd get to Byron and just go, the fuck is this? Like there's this, we're in this tiny town.
It's beautiful.
And there's this shed just across the road from the beach. It's literally a fucking shed. No air conditioning, no stage,
Wow.
PA set up. 300 kids rammed into this thing, losing their minds, like scaling the walls of like the roller doors, swinging off the fans, like stage diving off the PA stacks, and like the bands would just go, "What the fuck was that place? Like, what was this show?"
Come out of the water?
100%. Yeah, it was nuts, and we just got this crazy reputation for. It would have been about 10 years that the scene ran for like that, of just like insane shows for any band that rocked up, and because the kids had nothing and we built it for ourselves, there was a lot of ownership around it and a lot of pride around it, and it was run really, really, really well. Like there was never fights, nothing shitty ever went down. It was, hey, instead of going and get hammered in the park, go to a gig. Like you just put on a show, and a band's touring at some point in time, and then bands sprung up, and like that's kind of what it was. We like,
So I've kept you there for a while then, longer than you probably thought you'd be there for.
no, actually,
Were you younger? How old were you then?
Well, I would have been. I think I was about 20 by the time we left. There was a couple of years that we got it running for.
Yeah.
And then we kept it running while we were in the band, and then when the band started touring, we literally like handed it down to another generation, and they kept it running, which was. It was a really wild time. It was a really, really wild time. The only thing that took us kind of away from keeping it going was just the fact that Parkway started touring internationally. And we just couldn't have the boots on the ground to slap flyers up and do all the shit you had to do before social media existed.
Exactly.
Literally knock on someone's door and go, yo, there's a band touring in 2 weeks' time. Turn up.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I love shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like super small town stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel really like honored and privileged to actually have that experience. Because that doesn't exist in that capacity anymore.
Nah.
It just doesn't. Like, technology has changed the way that you function in a society, and that goes for the way gigs are put on. So,
yeah. What were you gonna say, Derek?
How did you meet the guys in your band? Like, were they in the surf scene or
high school?
High school.
High school and surf. Like,
Okay.
we're all surfers,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all at high school. And like the town, like when we grew up, there was less than 5,000 people in the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man.
So like, I think the high school had, what was it, about 800 people in the whole thing.
Real small, man.
Really, really, really small. Like, you know most of the town's name, kind of thing. You know everyone in the surf.
Right.
And we're all like, we're just the ones interested in that kind of music. And
Do you guys come off like the town weirdos, like having the shows? Did that bring weird attention to that little shack?
To a degree, like it was, but people appreciated it. Like the local, there was either the people who got pissed off because it was loud and they lived near it, and were just like, turn it down. It was always on a Thursday night.
Right.
It was never a weekend, because like the major cities would get the weekend and we'd get the Thursday. So it's like midweek, and we'd be done by 10, but the police would always rock up because there'd be a sound complaint, but they'd rock up and they'd be like, we know what time you're going to shut down. We just have to be here because one of the neighbors has complained. But we'd much rather everyone be here and doing this than be down in the park smashed and us having to take someone down the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everyone kind of backed it, which was really cool. We literally, like, everyone kind of understood. Like, the parents all understood, because once they got where their kids were going to and their kids came home safe.
Yeah.
I mean, we, like, in the 90s, it was an area where it was sketchy as hell, man. Like, there was big drug problems, everything that went along with the 90s in terms of like the culture of outsiderness, and everything from substance abuse to like cults and crazy shit within the town. Yeah, dude, for real. Like,
what kind
weird.
What kind
of cults?
Just weird, crazy. Like, fuck, I don't even know how to like. I'm not going to say murderous cults, but dodgy stuff.
Okay.
Like super dodgy. Like, this is like stuff where, like, you know, when like communal living can go wrong.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like, we're living in a place where the mountains surrounding the town are like, anything could go on up there, man. It's just jungle.
What's happening in the mountains?
What's happening in the mountains, man? Yeah. So that's kind of. But we'd never really had a super thing of otherness, because like everyone just got on board with what was going on, to be honest.
Yeah,
they kind of just the only otherness, the really random thing was like that the town's perception of who the band itself was never changed from that, and the band became quite large, and the town was the last ones to actually understand how big the band became.
It's usually how it happens.
Yeah, so it's
weird way. Yeah.
It's so strange. So like because it became a massive tourist hotspot. We got a lot of, especially like Europeans coming as well, and we put out a lot of media in terms of like, we put out 2 DVDs and stuff, which showed our town, and people were really big in Europe, and they'd go, I'm going to come to Byron when I come to Australia. Mm-hmm. And
you brought some tourist people.
Dude, we brought tourists to our town, and
See
you'd be like walking
from.
around the supermarket getting like photos taken, going, oh my God, you're Winston from Parkway Drive, man.
Wow.
Take the photo, and I'm like, in front of the dairy section.
All
right, let's go, man.
Was that a German?
That was, I don't know. That was. I'm sorry, anyone listening in Germany.
Just some random dudes in your town wearing your shirts, walking around.
It's
like
we are making party.
Yeah, need to be back in Stuttgart in time to see Kraftwerk.
So kind of put that town on the map in a sense.
Yeah, in that way, until the pandemic hit. So that's when it got really, really crazy. Like, what happened in the pandemic was everything, like Australia got locked down. People in the major cities got locked down. It was gnarly. Byron itself, they stopped. Unless you had a Byron Bay driver's license, you couldn't come into the town. There's 2 roads into the town. They literally just blocked it off.
Wow.
Nothing going on, like no sickness or anything like that. The surf's pumping, the sun's shining every single day, and we're just like, all right, let's just roll with this. This is awesome. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the rest of Australia is going through the fear and the craziness, and they're seeing the way we're living, and they're like, well, I've got like $10 million worth of real estate in Sydney or Melbourne. Why don't I just sell that and go and spend a tenth of that in that little town and live without any fear of this ever happening again?
Wow.
And all of a sudden, Zoom's taking off and everything like that. You don't have to be in a major hub to have a job. And as soon as the lockdowns lifted, our town went from like this little tourist destination to like millions of dollars flowing into it.
Wow.
It was
It is interesting.
nuts. Like fucking mental. It went from like we watched real estate go from, I don't even know, like the median real estate price, it went from like you could get a decent house for like $600,000 kind of thing, to you need $3 million just to get into the market within the space of 12 months.
Wow.
There's places going for like that were going for that previously. We're in a really nice place. Like it was already a nice area of Australia that people that's pretty prestigious. Like you need like $4 million to get in there. $20 million.
Wow.
It turned into like it went from like millionaire money to billionaire money, and then when it got locked down again, half of Hollywood saw that shit going on and moved to the town to make their movies, and they started making movies out the back of like what's that Perfect Strangers series or whatever, Nicole Kidman.
That was great.
7 Perfect Strangers. Yeah, that was shot out the back of Byron. Like all of that that's all our hinterland, all of that shit.
Didn't know that.
Cult stuff. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of that happened. A lot of people it became the place to just buy real estate for equity's sake, and it hasn't gone back. It's just gone. It went
bonkers.
Absolutely ballistic. They made a reality TV show and put it on Netflix just about influencers in our town.
No way.
Yeah, it's called Byron Bay. Check it out. It makes you really cringe.
Yeah, they usually do. Man.
Yeah,
all
dude.
those shows.
Yeah.
So are you still there?
Yeah, we're still there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're all still there, and I don't ever want to leave. Like it's. I get it. I get why people like.
Right.
I've been everywhere on the planet, and I still come back there, and I'm like, this is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's amazing still. Yeah.
I love living here. It's just no one could have predicted that happening. Like not to that and not to that speed of happening. It was just.
That is really crazy.
Yeah, man. It was weird.
I'm so curious, like how you got people to hear your band coming from such a small part.
Yeah, dude.
You know, like
That's
how
yeah.
like, especially for like young bands.
Yeah,
and anyone
man.
listening, that because I don't know, and I'm in a band. Like, how would you go about?
Oh, dude, it was a really interesting thing for us.
Is that pre-internet too? Is that
it's pre-social media.
Okay.
So our thing in Australia was just play.
All right.
Play everywhere.
So you were playing outside of
Byron.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we were touring
okay.
Australia. So it's basically, what happened wasn't like Day Contempt. We played with them plenty of places. Like the Australian hardcore scene kind of took off at the same time as Byron was taking off.
Yeah.
It just became the kind of thing like that was happening around, like especially high school age people were getting into this kind of music.
Yeah.
And it started picking up some momentum. So we started touring within 6 months of being in a band. We went on tour with a band called Like a Prom Queen, who they gave us our first in. Like their original singer Michael Crafter happened to be in Byron dating a girl for some random reason. We didn't know him. He was dating one of our friends at that point in time. Came to Byron and came to one of our rehearsals, and then we were like 2 days later we were playing our first show, and it was like he freaked out for some reason. We didn't know why. It was just like, this band's really good. And we're like, fucking bullshit, dude. You're in one of the biggest bands in the country. You can pull 200 people to a show. So yeah, like it was weird. We play our first show in the youth center, and we're like, cool, that's sick. And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, Prom Queen are going to do a split like EP. We want to do it with you. And we're like, get the fuck out of here. Like, we've been a band for like 6 months. We know who you are. We look up to everything you're doing. Like,
that's crazy.
And he's like, no, for real. And we're like, shit. So we went into a studio and recorded a couple of songs, and then from there toured the EP, and we just never stopped touring. And we were very, like, we loved it so much because for us it was just an adventure. Like, it really was. We're going to places, especially when you're a surfer. You're not going to go to Melbourne. There's no surf in Melbourne. You're not going to go and play Canberra and like somewhere that's not somewhere that doesn't have waves. You're never going to go there in your life. So we're just like adventure time. Like our guitarist Jeff bought a van so we could tour in it, and like this isn't like a Sprinter. This is like a high ace, like Toyota high ace 6-seater.
Way before Sprinter.
Dude, it took us 3 days to drive to Melbourne. Like 3 days to drive to Melbourne, and we didn't realize that like you need to have a little bit of comfort. Like, so maybe don't invite and like fill every seat in the van with your mates who are just going to mosh to make you feel a bit better, because you're like, no one's going to know who we are. So if you bring 3 mates, they'll set it off first. They'll set it off first. Yeah. So that's the way we toured. And we just did that, and we found that every time we played, we got a response of some way. It was just like exposure. Yeah. And it just kind of kept going. So we never said no to an opportunity. Every time there was a chance to do something, no matter how hard it was to get there, we'd just go. Right. And we just play, because you couldn't, like, MySpace had not been invented yet. It literally hadn't been invented. It was message boards at best. Yeah. Or it was a flyer that someone had stuck up. Like, if you didn't do the flyers for the show, like within a week of the show, half the amount of people would turn up to your gig. So it really was like proper DIY shit.
Man. What year was this around? Like
2003, 2002, 2003.
And this is your first time singing in a band? Any band?
Seeing other bands?
Yeah.
Or,
singing. In a band.
Singing.
This is your first band.
I sung in a band before that called Blueprint for a Nightmare, and that was myself and Parkway's drummer. Okay. And we literally started because Luke from Think Straight shut down because they drove in a van around Australia looking for surf. So we were like, well, we need another band, so let's just start a band to keep the scene going. And it was pretty bad, but this was our second band. Like, it's our lead guitarist Jeff's first band he's ever been in.
And the name comes from your practice spot?
Yeah, it's the street. It's the street, yeah. Okay. It's literally the street.
That's so cool. It's just
It was that was it. We're like, when we came to pick names, we were like, it's like
Parkway Drive. That's where they practice.
That's it, man. It's literally it.
Like bad happened there, and that's where it all went down.
Yeah, that's where it all went down.
That's where it began.
Yeah. No, that's it. And
that's still a spot?
Yeah, street sign ain't there. That's the most stolen street sign in the entire country.
Wow.
Oh fuck yeah. Like the local council tried to buy us out of our name, so they didn't have to replace the sign so much.
Which is so understanding of how things work.
They had no idea. They were just like, there's this band, and there's people keep coming and stealing the street sign, and like it went through like them just replacing the street sign to them making a reinforced street sign that was like solid fucking steel, except someone came through with like a cutter and cut it off. And then they put it on the power pole, so it was like 30 feet up in the air. Still got stolen, and that's when they were like, "Can you change your name?" And we're like, "No, sorry, we're not doing that." So
it's incredible.
So they painted it on the road in huge letters, and we're like, "That's going to be a problem," because at this point in time, people were coming and taking photos in front of the street sign. So instead of taking photos in front of the street sign, they started laying down in the road. Oh my God. And we're like, this is just so sketchy. Like coming around a blind corner, and there's like, I don't know, three people from Switzerland lying in the middle of the road.
Get out of the street.
The fuck out of the road. So now it's literally this tiny little thing painted on the side of the road, literally so delivery drivers know where to take delivery products to, because people just started losing their mail.
I think this is absolutely should be an album cover.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Or like what's the Beatles walking across the thing?
Walking across the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
If it happens, you get credit.
Yes.
Yes.
Taking it back
you know
to
what
the
else too? You know like how there's like there's a Joe. These guys are still alive. Or like there's a Joe Ramone Street. There's like a Big Avenue.
Of course. Yeah.
There's an AC/DC lane
like that. If you touch it, it's like a not public property or owned by the city. I don't know, something. It's important where you can't fuck with it.
Yeah.
We get in trouble
Yeah.
somehow.
It should be in
Right.
bronze. It should be a bronze street sign or something.
Absolutely.
There's still people. Like, they literally come to Byron just to go and see the street sign.
I'm sure they do.
And I
It's
think
really rad. It's just a
Right.
trip.
And I think the more they change it and the more rules they put on, more of these kids it's going to take.
Of
Yeah,
course,
100%.
absolutely.
100%.
It's like a
man.
challenge.
Yeah,
Like,
It's kind of cool though.
It's
It's still
very
there and
cool,
you're still there.
actually.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
actually.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's rad. Like, I really enjoy the fact that we haven't had to. Like, I love the fact that we've never had to compromise anything we've done. Like, it's been a
That's
big
cool.
thing for us of like, we do it our way, no matter what. And one of the things always was like, it really did. Like, when we started touring overseas for the first time, like, people were like, why don't you move? Why don't you move to LA and just tour America a lot, and you can really focus on it? And I'm like, you know what?
Fuck America.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say we said that, okay, especially considering our tour. So yeah,
We need an American accent still though from him.
Yeah.
All right.
But we we were all like, no, you know what? We're gonna do it our way, and we're just gonna like, if it means flying for fucking 21 hours just to get there, we'll do that. If it means
Mission. That's such a hell flight.
But
man.
how did
yeah.
people hear about the band outside of Australia? Like,
Ah.
when did that start to pick up? Like,
that basically,
word of mouth, no? Go ahead.
yeah, it literally
Really?
was.
Word of
So
mouth?
so
I mean,
here's what
The
happened in
hardcore
Australia.
scene's like that though.
Yeah, what happened in
no
Australia
facts.
was we toured our.
It is. It's so underground, but it's
No,
really
you're
not. I don't
right.
know.
But
Oh,
I mean,
dude! At that point in time, like, it was like when we first started going overseas was
and where was the first time?
it was UK and Europe, and the
By
way
yourselves? I'm sorry.
yeah, it was it was
Really?
like
Wow.
this is what we did. This is
Big
so
steps.
so essentially we toured Australia, major cities,
Mhm.
and what like the band blew up pretty fucking fast.
Wow.
It was this really crazy thing where like we became quite popular, and then the second album we put out happened to be the first album that we put out happened to be like, I don't know, it was like the zeitgeist of every high school kind of thing where people knew about us enough that we were like, you know what, we've toured everywhere that people have toured. Let's tour when no one has toured. So we literally booked
smart.
these runs. We're like, no one ever came to Byron before. Let's play every town like Byron in this country that we can go to.
That's sick.
So yeah, we're rocking up at these places where
We call them like B markets or C markets
Oh,
or D
dude.
markets in
Yeah.
America.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. But at this point in time, it was no market. It was places that literally no band, full stop, had
That's
been to.
dope.
Right.
And you rock up, and we're like, we know how to do this. Like, we got our own PA with us in a truck. We've got us, and we've got our support bands,
Your own
and we're just going to rock up.
You got your
and
3 friends to mosh.
got our 3 friends
Yeah.
that mosh, and that's it. And we're going to rock up at just a space that we've booked at the community hall, a church, like a patio or something, and put on a
Patio,
gig.
I love that.
Yeah, dude, we played a couple of patios, and it was insane. But you
Super
turn up,
DIY, man. I love
Love
this.
that.
super
Patios.
DIY, and the thing is, the kids in those towns felt the same way we did
Right.
originally, and they're like, someone coming here, someone cares
They
enough to
felt
actually
noticed.
come here,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were losing their shit. And then by the time like the album comes out, I mean, most of the country's like high school age kids know who we are,
I see.
so they're paying attention, and like the next tour we do is just fucking mental, like fully mental. And we toured so much of Australia that we're like, we can't just keep going around
Right.
Australia. We're going to burn ourselves out. We got to go overseas. How do you do that?
Yeah.
And
Good question.
the big challenge for us was, we're like, we need a label to get us out
That's what I
there.
was going to say. Put the first record out.
Yeah. And no one wanted to take a punt on us because they'd never seen us play.
Yeah.
But for us to be able to play, we were like, well, we need a release so someone
Right.
knows who the fuck we are.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just, there was nothing. So we were like, well, let's do what we did in Australia overseas. Let's
Okay.
just go overseas. We booked a round the world ticket. So
Holy.
that was the cheapest way of doing it. We
Right.
borrowed money off my parents.
Nice.
And we're like, can we borrow some money so we can go overseas and try and do this thing? It seems to work in Australia. Like, let's just do a
all
thing.
right. Cool.
And it's like, by the time we left, we headlined a venue in Sydney. It was like 1,200 people. And at that point in time, that was the biggest, like, hardcore show in Australia's history. Like,
Wow.
like
Yeah,
including
that's a-
international touring bands, which was nuts. And we're
Right.
like, holy
That's
shit.
sick.
It's a lot of
So
people.
we go to the UK, and a band from the UK called Shaped by Fate had booked they were like, you can come out with us. They were like
Oh, cool.
a smaller band from Wales, and they're like, jump on this bill with us. The entire
Man,
tour,
that's bold.
dude. The entire tour fell apart 2 weeks before we were about to go out. We had it all booked, and they cobbled it back together for us, which was sick. And we arrive in the UK. No one knows who the fuck we are.
Right.
Like fucking no one. We
Yeah.
went from like 3 weeks ago, we played to 1,200 people to literally like there's 15 people here,
Right.
and we're playing like in some southern port town of the UK. In a venue where you're 3 stories up and one of the walls is missing in the backstage room. Sketchy as shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, we're back to square one. And we're like, we've done it in Australia, let's do it here. So
Yeah.
we just did it with like, we do what we always do. You play like every show's your last because this is a fucking adventure. We hired a car. One of our friends, like Jed, who is our drummer's big brother, sold merch for us. He was with us. And we literally had this tiny little car, and we chucked all our shit in the back of it and piled it all on us. We had no money, like no money. We would take whatever we got paid or didn't get paid. If someone was like, here's $40 for a hotel room, we're like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take the money from the hotel room. We're just going to buy a bunch of sleeping bags, and we're just going to sleep like on the side of the road. So we were sleeping on the side of the road. We're sleeping like in fields. We're sleeping.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, like, oh fuck, what's that venue in Leipzig? Like, there's a venue in Leipzig with a skate park out the back.
Yeah. I've been there before. I remember.
Yeah,
that
we slept.
mini ramp there and shit too.
Yeah, so we slept out the back of that, and I used like a brick
Wow.
as a pillow. So that was our first like. We were away from Australia for 5 months, and we
5 months.
5 months straight. Yeah, it
It's
was
like 2004, 2005.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
it's around
Just
that. Yeah,
traveling and playing shows.
traveling and playing shows, and that was it. Just driving around, like no agent, no proper release at this point in time.
No
We're
money.
just no money, just going, and we were just like, this is an adventure. Fuck it.
Right.
Like I got pneumonia. Like I was half fucking dead. Didn't even know it.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
there was so much super sketchy shit going down.
5 months.
Yeah.
What was happening?
How old are you then? Like 20s?
20. I think I was 21. I
Okay.
think Ben was like 17. Our drummer. Yeah, dude. Like so this is
Wow.
yeah. But
Shout out to your parents who gave you money to do that too.
Oh, no,
I believed in you.
yeah.
Like,
yeah. So our
It's nice.
parents had faith in us doing it. Like I've already been with my now wife for 3 years. So she was like, all right, go and do this thing, and she had to go through hoping that we're safe because mobile phones don't fucking exist at this point in time.
Nah.
Right.
I think like we've got like a tiny little cell phone, but like we're on phone cards. There's no Skype.
Yeah.
Phone cards.
There's no. I'm sending her postcards and letters and like buying the prepaid phone thing from the fucking
Yeah.
and going to the phone store to make that call, which cost you $10 for 2 minutes. So it was nuts. But
Fuck.
what happened was
Sounds stressful as hell.
yeah,
Think
it
about
was
that, Derek, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It was,
I
it
have
was.
anxiety from hearing this
100%.
stuff.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
slept in the field, did you, on tour?
In a field? No, hell no.
Yeah, dude. Some of the fields were the nicest ones. You'd wake up in the middle of the night and there was just stars.
Oh, that's
It was-
cool.
It was
Yeah.
fucking sick. There was some in the rain and stuff which were gnarly. And sleeping under the van in the rain, like trying to not get wet by the puddles and stuff.
No one can ever say your band never paid their dues.
Oh
man.
no! I know. Like that's the
Facts.
thing. Like no matter what
Yeah.
ever happens, I'm like, dude, we've paid in fucking every form of bodily pain that you can, mental torture that you can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So like after 5 months.
So what happened was it was a couple of months.
And there's no record at that point?
No, we had like rough distribution of what we already had, but it was
Okay.
like
Okay.
really minor, like local distro kind of thing, like really, really small. And Peter from Burning Heart was like, yeah, like your band.
Is that a label?
Yeah.
The Epitaph affiliates.
Epitaph, yeah.
It's
Epitaph
a
affiliates,
subsidiary of
Yeah.
Epitaph.
It's like
And it
how
was like-
Hellcat is too. like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, and he was
Got it,
like,
got
yeah,
it.
I'll fucking put it out. And then he was like, I'm going to show it to Brett in America. And we're like,
Shout out to Brett Gerl, it's the best.
Yeah.
dude, yes.
Legend.
Everyone at Epitaph, family, fucking love them.
Amazing.
The
Great.
best. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, and it was really weird because us growing up as punk kids, at that point in time, it wasn't the Epitaph now. It was like, dude,
ran
we
to
were
everybody, man.
it was everyone punk, but there was nothing heavy. And then Brett's
facts.
like, yeah, Parkway. We'll put that out. We'll put it out in the US, and Burning Heart and Epitaph will put it out in Europe. Even though at this point in time, the actual album has been released 6 months ago. Like people officially, like this is in pirating days. You could get that shit online everywhere.
Yeah.
But they still released it, which was, we were like, holy fuck, that's incredible. So we got a
That's
label.
like a dream, dude.
Yeah. And then Marco Avocado Booking, like in Europe, was like, checked us out and was like, yeah, I'll book you guys. And they were a small agency at that point in time. And he was like, yeah. And he saw us play. And this was at like the peak of my pneumonia. And we played some venue where was it? I think it was Hamburg. No, maybe it wasn't. Frankfurt. It was Frankfurt. And we played with Raised Fist.
Oh, nice.
And loved Raised Fist. Huge Raised Fist fans. And we were opening for them. And I was so sick. Like vomiting my guts up. Could not speak. And I'm like, we're not cancelling this show. So I'm playing the gig. I'm so delirious that I fell off the front of the stage. I fell into the drum kit first because I had no balance.
Right.
And then I was just screaming my guts out. And then at one point in time, I was just like, and off the front of the stage I go, and just like toppled off the front of the stage. That's the first time Marco's seen us. And I'm just like, this dude is just going to have the worst impression. But he was like,
he's
no,
really punk rock.
Yeah. He was like, yeah. He was like, no, I respect, I see what's there. I respect the energy that's going on.
Awesome.
And yeah. And from that point on, like, he's like, I can't get you a tour right now, but whatever's going on, I will put you guys on as like the local opener. If you guys can get to the place. And there was like a, God, what was the tour? It was like Dead to Fall, Ringworm, Cephalic Carnage.
Ringworm?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a bunch of
Ringworm?
tours where we were just opening, like, as we weren't on the package, our name wasn't on the flyer, but we would drive our little red car to the Czech Republic and play some basement somewhere for just to open.
Yeah.
And that's what we'd do. And then we'd sleep in a field and we'd rock up to the next show and we'd just do it. That's what it was. Darkest Hour. It was Darkest Hour, Dead to
Darkest
Fall,
Hour.
Cephalic Carnage. Yeah. So
Shout out to Middle Mike. He's in Darkest Hour. I don't think he was back then, but
Mm.
he's also from Battery and from.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a bunch of those like little things, and then after like 3 months, we went over to States for the first time.
Oh wow!
And we had a tour with the Warriors, and a tour with Himza, which we already had. Yeah, who we had hooked up already, which were like, that was just us opening shows, and it was sick. And the Warriors, like, we'd never met before, but they were friends with Day Contempt, and they were friends with I Killed the Prom Queen, and they were like, you can use all of our backline.
Oh wow!
Like, we'll take your gear in the trailer. Like, you get yourselves around. They just hooked us up like nothing else.
Awesome,
they were fucking
man.
awesome, and they're
It's
still
amazing.
like really good friends of ours. Like,
And visas and everything was fine.
oh no, that wasn't fine. That was a tourist. We
Yeah, I
just
was
got
gonna
in
say-
on an Esther and did not say that we were working.
Okay.
We have visas and stuff now, but
Right.
no,
They're official
yeah.
now, listeners. Yes.
Yeah, we're very official now, which is
Not
fucking
illegal
awesome.
now,
But
listeners,
originally,
just
like,
so
we're
you
like,
know.
we're not.
They're kids, man. They're
We
trying
were
to
not
travel.
making money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
We're like, we're contributing to the economy, but we sure as hell aren't taking anything out of it. Yeah, but we did the same thing. We're like, let's just sleep on the ground. Like,
Okay.
there was some. Yeah, there's times that we like woke up in the mountains and you see coyotes howling, like, just in
Right.
the shadows and shit.
Yeah.
So sketch. But yeah, it was just a wild trip, and that's how we got the name out there. We just kept playing and we just kept
I
going.
love it,
Right,
man.
right.
And from there we went back to Europe for one last tour, which was our first time on a bus ever with.
I was gonna ask, first time on a bus.
First time
You're
on a
on a
bus.
bus.
Yeah, and
Already?
it was
Okay.
us. We were on the flyer. It was
Ooh.
Shai Halud, Remembering Never. Oh, who else was on that? Us. And someone else. I'm so sorry. Whoever
All
it
on
is,
one
I can't
bus?
remember. All on one bus.
Yeah.
All on one bus. Toilet broken. Smells like
Oh.
piss constantly.
Oh
and-
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But it was rad.
But you're on
And
the bus. You have a bunk, place to sleep every
couldn't-
night.
Oh.
Dude, could not believe it. It's like, no matter what, I know I'm not going to die in my sleep.
Yeah.
I know a car's not going to run over me while I'm trying to sleep or something like that, or get
Okay,
mugged
he's
or
gonna
some
get
shit.
you.
So,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that was kind of how it started, and that's how we
did you
started
start
going
to
overseas.
notice, like, on that second time around in Europe,
Yep.
like bigger,
Yep.
like people knowing
People knowing us.
Okay.
The weird thing was, like, well, it wasn't. It was weird in the sense of we've always expected to fail,
Right.
but nothing has ever failed. Like, there's been no point in time where we've rocked up to the same place and there's been less people.
Right.
There's always been more every time. Like, it's just like you play your guts out and it seems to connect. And it's just been that way from day one. It's not like we've never had a real plan of like, this is how you succeed. We've
Yeah.
literally
Right.
just gone, we enjoy doing this and we love doing it so much that, like, I'm not going to play a half-ass show because I give a fuck about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to put on a costume and go off to work today. Like, as much as you
Yeah.
go, like, this is my career. This is me. This is my fucking art. This is what we care
Yeah.
about. And
And people can see that and
they
feel that.
get it. There's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but it's fucking authentic.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
Yeah. And that's why it kept going for you guys, because you weren't trying to be big. You're doing something you loved, and you never gave up, and you kept going.
Yeah.
Through all that different things.
There's a sense of ownership that goes with the people that have supported our band over the years.
Right.
They know that they have got us to where we've got us, and we know that very much as well. Like, we create the art, but the connection that is formed through that art is genuine, and we know it relies on, like, at the end of the day, I'll be happy just doing it. But for the gigs to get to how big they are, it takes someone going away from that show and telling their friend that wasn't there, you should come and see this next time. And that's how it's grown. And it did. It is kept growing. Like gradually, it just kept expanding. And we just kept doing the same thing. And the art just kept changing because we got more life experience and grew older and like
seeing the world and playing with other bands.
That's
everything.
it. And it all just molded into this organic thing where, like, until COVID hit, like, you have this 17-year strange experience of exponential growth in this band.
Yeah.
That was just one long blur.
Yeah.
It's an amazing journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions. One is, did you graduate from high school?
Yeah, I got, like, I think...
Was your band already started when you were in high school?
No.
Okay, it was after.
I think it was like the year after.
Okay.
I got like 56 on my final score. Two of the guys graduated.
How does that work there?
That's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, 56.
That's
bad.
bad.
Like 60 is like a C.
Do you guys just rank it in like out of 60 in Australia? No, that's bad. Like 56% out of 100 is not a good score.
Okay. Oh, it's out of
like,
100.
It's out of 100. So like,
you just want to play music. You just want to get out of school, probably.
Well, I just wanted to surf. Everyone just wanted to surf.
I'm sure you surfed during school hours too, though.
Yeah, our high school is on the beach.
Oh,
there was a track to the beach. So when the wind was good, everyone would know it, and you'd just be like, who the fuck's going home to get their boards at lunch? Because like we can just flag these next 2 periods and just go surfing. Wow. So yeah, we like two of the guys, like the two youngest guys in the band, like our bass player and our drummer, both dropped out in 10th grade.
Okay.
Because they wanted to surf.
Wow.
Literally, that's it. It was before the band was a thing, and they worked in pizza shops together, so they could surf, and that was it.
So you barely made it out, but you got out.
Yeah. Like that's why when the band started touring internationally, it was the first time we had to like put our side. We were like, now it is our job.
Right. Yeah. What were your jobs? What was like?
I was
your last real job.
I was working in a burger cafe, like burning burgers and making bad coffees.
Oh.
Two of them, the youngest two, were working in a pizza shop, and they were like the head chef, and which was. Yeah, I know. When they told me at the time, I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Are you in charge of running this? I'm never getting like a pizza from this joint." But it was like this. It was ridiculous. One of the like Jeff, our lead guitarist, was working at the video store, and the guitarist / manager Luke was watering wheatgrass for the local juice shop.
Wow, I didn't see even a
Peak
job.
Australia jobs.
Right.
There we go. So like, yeah, man. So the first time that we when we actually had to quit was when we went overseas for the first time, because nowhere in like highest unemployment rate in the country, no one's keeping you a job for you until you get home.
Yeah,
they're getting someone else.
Definitely for that wheatgrass.
100%, man. That's it. 100%. So yeah, that was it, and that's when we're like, well, let's try and do this instead of doing all those other things.
Yeah. So you weren't after that European tour coming back, you guys were started living off the band, kind of.
Yep, that was it. It was just like. That was when it was relentless too.
Oh,
but it was relentless. Like it was relentless before that, but now it was relentless internationally. And also like at that point in time, we're getting to the point where like certain members of the band aren't necessarily living at home anymore.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of them lived at home for a long time because they weren't there. They just come home and like dump their stuff with their parents or whatever. But
yeah,
I was out at home, so I was like, me and my wife got to make rent, shit like that. So we got to keep this thing rolling. And
yeah,
we just kept touring, but it was successful as well. So we were observing the momentum, and we're like, why stop now?
Right.
Every opportunity that popped up, you just go,
let's do it.
I'm on it because fuck, it could go even further.
Right.
And when you grow up, especially like we have, not expecting anything.
Yeah.
You expect the bubble to pop,
Mm-hmm.
and the constant thing for our band has been right before going on stage, looking out and going, Jesus Christ, this is more people than we've ever seen here. Soak it in. This is the biggest the band's ever going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes from like 100 people to 200 people to 3 to 5 to 1,000
Mm-hmm.
to fucking 2,000 to fucking whatever it's at now. It took us 10 years to realize this isn't stopping, and that you actually know what you're doing. Like there was a massive imposter syndrome going on with us for so long because we didn't expect this to
I
actually
feel like you didn't deserve it.
100%. 100%, man. And like it took so long for us to actually realize that. Yeah, to embrace it. And that whole time you wait for it to pop. You wait for the day you book a tour and you rock up and no one's there and you're like, it's done.
Right.
Back to the pizza shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't make, like, none of it made sense. Like, even in our country, in our town, like, none of it made sense. Like, on a national level, people are like, who the fuck is the biggest band of this genre in our country coming from that hippie town? There's nothing there. And they did the scene themselves. What the fuck? And also, like, that scene itself, like, there's no radio play, there's no alternative music, there's no media coverage. Like, it is still fucking underground in our country. Like, there was nothing, and our band was at the top of the heap of all of that in this thing that made zero sense. Yeah. And then you go overseas and it's that, but also you're from Australia. Like, no one was touring Australia at that point in time. No one knew who there was no bands coming out of there other than AC/DC and Silverchair. Yeah.
Silverchair. Yeah. Remember Silverchair?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Wow.
So like the whole thing was amplified even more. Like there was like nowadays, like people look to Australia for quality heavy music of any kind. But when we started, it was just us. Yeah. Like you literally, there's no footprints to follow. You're doing it yourself. Yeah. So you do really wait for it to all just like for people to catch on and you actually don't belong here. Mm-hmm. And like we do interviews and people would, for 10 years, people would be like, what's the secret? Like, you guys are doing really well. Like, what is it about you guys? And we'd literally say, we don't know. We're idiots. We have no idea what we're doing. We can't even play our instruments. And that would be our straight up real answer. Damn. Which is so shit. It's so shit, man. We had no self-confidence. Yeah. Like, once we stepped on stage, we were just like, we're going to make people remember this no matter what. Like, if this is our headlining show, we're going to go 110% and it's going to be as good as anything we can ever give. And if someone's playing above us, we're going to make sure that the people
they feel it,
that they fucking feel it, and they've either got a lift or they're going to get fucking rolled over.
Do you feel like you had a lot to prove? A lot of people watching you
every fucking time. Yeah, we still do. We still like. I'm not going to say it's a chip on our shoulder, but I always have something to prove. I always have something to prove because like, I just want to give people something memorable. Yeah, and they're giving us out their time. And that's the most valuable thing that anyone has in their entire fucking life is time. So if you're going to spend your time with us, I want it to be something that's worthy of that time. That's the thing. So
remember it,
Yeah, just remember it. So, yeah.
What's like a major influence for the band back then? I'm sure it's changed throughout the years. And you guys are part. Was the genre called metalcore? Is that the kind of
thing? Dude, it wasn't even existing. Like that term didn't even exist when we started. It was like metallic hardcore. I hate
all those terms, by the way.
I know. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Yeah. Before there was a something to search on a search engine. It was just like metallic hardcore.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or emo metal. It was like Poison the Well and fucking Poison the Well, opposite of December, and then like Throwdown and fucking like all of Hatebreed, Earth Crisis, like all of those things mashed in together. Okay. But like, it was around the time that like bands were bringing in like death metal and black metal influences into things, and we weren't necessarily listening to that kind of stuff specifically, but we're just kind of taking everything in. But what we did when we started was like, it was literally hardcore kids who wanted to make something heavier than what we'd done before. Yeah. And then going, let's add some things which are challenging for us. And being hardcore kids who know how to play fucking power chords and not sing. Right. Like we got our lead guitarist, Jeff, who was like, he grew up on metal and he played guitar in a way that we'd never heard before. He grew up listening to fucking Metallica and Machine Head and Dire Straits, and like he's fucking wizard on guitar.
Dire Straits.
Yeah, Dire Straits metal. But yeah, fucking Dire Straits, dude. Like, and he knows how to play guitar and he knows fucking music. And we're like, you do that thing and we'll do this thing and we'll kind of meet in the middle and we'll make this band that sounds like something. We'll do this thing that's like hard for us to do because it's fun to do something challenging. Yeah. And that was kind of it. And from there, it's just been this organic process of taking influences in and realizing what you like doing and what you're not doing and what everyone else is doing, and running it through our own filter of creation. And that's kind of it. So that's kind of just the only real formula that we've ever had. It's always been those three things of like, do you enjoy playing it? Do you enjoy listening to it? And fuck, what was the third one? I can't even remember now. Do you enjoy playing it? Do you enjoy listening to it? Yeah, I can't remember the third one, but that was basically all we ever run on. That's how we write songs.
Right.
That's literally how we write songs. And if it fits those things, we're like, that's all it's got to be part of it.
Has there been some lineup changes or
No, we've had one. We've had 3 bass players in the history of the band.
Okay, yeah,
Our current yes, damn fucking bass players, man. Our current bass player has been with us since our first overseas tour.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's been with us, like he's been in the band, but it's been solid ever since then.
I see.
Originally we had a bass player called Brett, who was he could play bass and he was in the scene, and he was sketchy and just loose.
Right.
Like we would literally rock up the day before driving out for tour, we'd pack everything in the car, be like, "You coming on tour tomorrow, Brett?" It's like, "Yep." And then 4 a.m, van would turn up to his house. He's not here. And go, "Where's Brett at?" And his mum would go, "He's down at the police station. You got to go get him from the cell."
Shit.
And we'd literally have to go and bail him out and put him in the tour van and take him. And then, like, when it came the first time we recorded an album, we recorded overseas, and we're like, "You need to get a passport. You need to get a passport. Stop being so flaky." Never got it, and we're like, "Sorry, dude, you're done." And then we got another friend who was cool and lived in Brisbane, not Byron. He was really good at bass, and he was in it for like an album cycle until we came overseas, and he was having a kid, and he was like, "I still want to be in this band," and we bought him a round the world ticket. And after a month, we did that first UK tour, and he's like, "I'm out. I'm having a kid." And we're like, "Fuck, man, we just spent all that money on your ticket, and you said you were going to be in, and now you're done. We get it, but you're fucking done." So we had no bass player like a month into that first 5-month stint. And at that point in time, we were like, everyone's flaky except for our fucking merch guy. And our merch guy in Australia, like Jaya, he can't play bass, but he's there. And we literally would like called him up and we're like, "You want to fly around the world and learn how to be a bass player?"
Wow.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Good friends, man.
Yeah, and we're like, and he was like, "Yeah," and he thought it was a joke. He thought it was a full-on joke, and he honestly expected to get to the airport in London and for us all to be laughing at him and just send him home. But no, he rocked up and he learned how to play bass.
That's
and
insane.
That's really cool.
He had no idea how to play bass.
No.
That's insane.
It took him a long time to learn how to play bass as well. He was shit for a long time, but he's fucking great now. He's a great bass player. He's a great musician. And he's like, that dude has given so fucking much to this band. Wow. It's ridiculous.
Wow, dude.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some real friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Is there one album out of all your records that, or was there?
How many records have, by the way?
I think we're on 7 now.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 records.
Still the newest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
7. Is there any one of those records where you felt like this is it, we're gonna have a career, like it was so big, or a response to it?
This is the one.
Not
This
the
is the
one.
one.
Not
We're
the
gonna
one,
make it.
But it's like
We
it's selling.
made it,
It's selling really good, or you're getting a video play or some radio play.
Yeah. There was an actual turning point where it went like it went really crazy, which was Aya, which was 3 records ago.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, and we switched our essentially we switched our sound up. Like the record before
It's called
that.
Irie.
Aya.
Okay.
Anger, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Irie, when we brought it out, we're like, oh, it's also the initial for Ireland's football team. So awesome. There's going to be no confusion with this shit. But like basically what happened with that album was like the album before that we wrote and recorded, and we found we'd reached a point where we had started retreading old ground to a degree where we were just doing it because we knew how to do it. And then there was this whole other element where we're bringing in, which was like, this other part of it is really interesting. Let's play those bits and try and write songs out of it. But they weren't quite meshing. We weren't committing to either side. We weren't committing to just like doing something which you obviously don't want to continue doing, but you're known for. And continuing down, like obviously the influences and whatever you're doing is expanding at a rate which is now going beyond what you have expected or anyone's expected from your band. So how the hell do you mesh them? And we made an album which like it has some really good bits to it, but when I listen to it, I'm like, it's 2 worlds sitting separate from each other, and they don't quite gel enough.
Mesh,
So we started writing Aya, and we're writing in a very similar way, and then we literally were like, no, we were like, it has to go somewhere different. And we analyzed like what we loved about the band, and we worked our sound around in a different way, and we were like, you know what, we're going to do something really fucking different. Like the lead guitars would put way more to the forefront, because we're like, you know what, like the lead guitars are a massive character of this band. Like they're a voice in this band.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from that. Like it doesn't always have to be brutal. It can fucking shine. And the other massive part of it was the actual sound itself. Like when we went to record it, our front of house sound guy is a producer, and he was constantly going like, I can record your band if you want. We're like, yeah, that's going to sound good. He's like, no, I can do it. And when we started writing, we were like, you know what, let's give him a shot. And we went over, we demoed a song with him, and his team is him and his brother. It's George and Dean Haji Crystal. Cool. And his brother has a studio in the basement, a really nice one. And they demoed this song, and we're like, fuck man, this sounds really good. And he's like, I've seen more Parkway shows than any person on this planet. I know how this band operates. I know you. I know how the crowd works. Like, I feel it. And we're like, yeah. Like that thing where you get in the studio with a producer and you have to work out the personality gelling and like the push and pull of all of that. We're like, he knows what we're trying to get. We've always been a live band trying to capture that essence in a studio without it just being a live record, obviously. And we're like, all right, let's do a record with him. And that was Aya, and it came out sounding really fucking different. The first song we put out is called Vice Grip, and it literally like it's gone from like us the album's previous first single was like 3/4 of its blast beats, super heavy breakdowns, just no melody whatsoever. And it had a couple of like hey chants in it, and people were already like, the fuck is that chanting? Oh my god, that's some sellout shit. Vice Grip comes out. Huge lead guitars, melodic chorus, like singing in it. But like when we wrote it, like originally we were like, I can't get this fucking song out of my head, and this makes us happy. Like we enjoyed writing this. It feels like us. We've written it in the same way. This is us. Let's write an album like this. So we do that, and we put it out as a single, and we were literally like throwing a grenade on the band's name straight into the middle of like this thing which was already moving quite successfully, just going, here it comes, like waiting for the reaction to it. And it was literally just like, this is fucking shit. Just like, it was like watching a fucking firestorm on the music video of people just going, this band is done. They fucking killed themselves. It was nuts. And we were like, holy fuck. And we played, like the night it came out, we played it for the first time in like a French city, and a couple of people knew it. And by 3 shows in, like 3 days after that song came out, that was the biggest song we had ever fucking made.
Wow.
Like the live...
yes.
It was because we were playing it like live. I think it was like on a festival run as well. We watched it like click, and we were like, oh fuck. And from there, like it all just went... And
that's incredible.
It was at a point where we were playing like in Europe, we were just testing, like we'd done a co-headline like hall run of like venues that were like 3,000 to 5,000 people, co-headliner with Heaven Shall Burn.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, which was nuts. Just before this came out, and then this came out, and we did the same run, but like we sold the whole thing out just by ourselves, and we're like, oh shit! So literally it doubled. Like we watched a doubling, and all of a sudden it was like the attention surrounding it amplified. Really amplified. And like I noticed that at home all of a sudden, like there's just random people like approaching me in the street and going, hey man, and I'm like, where do I know this person from?
It's
and
like
I don't.
I
don't. They're just people who know me, and it became really fucking weird. Like it became I guess just weird because I'm not used to that, and I'm not like a celebrity person. Like I appreciate artists for what they do, but I don't like I'll shake someone's hand and go, you mean a lot to me, but I don't approach people. So to have people approaching me and then like finding my phone number or rocking up at my house or shit like that, I'm like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden I'm doing like having to fly to America and fly to Europe to just do press tours and stuff. Like it just jacked.
That's insane.
Yeah. So it was that was when it really.
Two things I got from that is that, one, fuck the internet, because all that negative shit doesn't mean shit in real life. Then you went played live, then fans came and sang along, and that became a big song. So that's just internet people. They don't really exist. That's a pure reality check of that. And also that I love when bands do change it up and do change their style, because bands get stuck in that touring cycle. Like, we're going to tour for 2 years or a year, then we make a record, then we do a single. You start making the same shit over and over again. It gets boring, and then you just you're the same band over and over. So I love the fact you did that and it actually worked. And that's why I think Derek should do a ballad.
Yeah, man.
Sepultura. I'm pushing for a ballad on one of the next Sepultura
Still
records.
working on it, man.
But just like the band needs to have
for it,
fun.
dude.
Thank you.
Like the point is, like, the band has to have fun and be happy too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can't just make music for your audience who you appreciate so much and
I
got you where
agree.
you're at. But it's like,
yeah, the band are artists, and for artists to expand and to grow, you need to evolve and step outside of the box, and that's what is super important, scary.
Yeah,
but
man.
I think people believe in that step.
Yeah.
When you do it. And when you believe in it,
100%, man. It comes back to that authenticity. And also knowing the difference between art and product.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing, because you do forget that as a consumer of anything. I mean, you are paying in even if it's attention, you're paying for something and you expect something back. But whether or not you want to like something, everyone wants to like what they're getting, but when you don't, you feel disappointment, which I get.
Let down.
You feel let down, which is understandable. But at the same point in time, it's exactly what you said. I mean, that's why we do have that very, very base formula of what this band is.
Yeah.
It really, because at the bottom of it, we've really known that if we follow that, and which is just being true to ourselves and true to what we enjoy doing about this whole crazy project, that authenticity resonates out. And the authenticity is where the real connection comes from. And
100%.
whether or not people do actually like it or dislike it, that just comes down to them. And we're cool. If someone's like, I fucking hate this, I'm like, no problem.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, it's just fucking music.
Right.
It's just, at the end of the day, this is all it comes down to taste. There's plenty of music that I have no care for whatsoever. And I listen to it and I'm like, I'm not going to spend my time on this because I just don't want to.
Yeah.
And there'll be people that do.
Exactly.
They'll
That's the
completely
thing.
feel a different way about
That's
it.
exactly it, man. That's exactly it. And I get it. That's the thing. But I think as soon as you try and second guess that equation, and you're like, you know what? I know what people want.
Yeah, then you're doomed.
Then you're fucked, man. Then you're fucked. Yeah, that's it.
There's bands great examples, being a fan of music and especially a big fan of Metallica now. Understanding, just because I was like, I don't like metal, hardcore punk kid, and I was like, I'm not gonna. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna open my mind, love the band, love what they do, and then when the changes, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I was still
The Black Album.
even with
Love that record,
when one Injustice for All, I was like,
ooh, yeah.
because there was Garage Days, and I was like, this is gonna be epic.
All the covers.
Next album, I was like, these covers
Sick.
are the best.
Yeah.
This band is still Metallica fans were just waiting. Came out, there were so many people talking shit.
Oh, of course.
The band is over.
Yeah.
They had their first video, and it was one of the best videos they've ever done. It was the most ballady song.
Was that one?
One.
Yeah.
And it
Incredible
was
video, man.
Yeah.
incredible song, incredible video, and I was like, man, they have stepped way outside their box, which is fucking
Comfort
beautiful. Zone. Then the Black Album came out, and I was even like, I'm an idiot for thinking that because it's the album that did the best, I think, out of their entire career.
100%. Genre-defining, classic worldwide album.
But so many
Bangers.
people were talking
Dude,
shit.
people were buying it to burn it on the sidewalk. I'll pay money to show you how much I fucking hate this thing by then destroying it.
Yeah.
But that is that's the thing as well. The thing with art is it always feels weird to say what we do is art in general. I always find that a very interesting thing, but it is, and it's designed to elicit a reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would rather
Absolutely.
someone be fucking pissing on our record than be going and it playing and then be having a conversation over the top of it. Because it's supposed to elicit something. Because the thing is, when you're creating it because something is drawn out of you to create that.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just sitting there sleepwalking your way through some fucking lyrics and just slapping away and you're like, oh shit, a song's written, I didn't even fucking realize. Here we go, that's it. Or someone wrote a song for you. It's personal. And someone can dislike a part of your personality or not understand it, but at least they're trying to connect with it and it's elicited a response. And that's what I want from my art. and like the art that I consume.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you get nervous when you saw the reaction before you got to play that song live when you were on tour?
At this point in time, we kind of weathered it a little bit. We kind of giggled at it a lot because we do have a lot of faith in our own way of doing things.
Yeah.
And going like, it's always worked for us. We can't stop thinking about this song. If that earworm works for us, fuck, man, I think it's going to happen for other people, and it kind of just did. That's the thing. It was just there's faith in ourselves. I mean, it's hard not to ignore, but like I've realized that part of life now, that like the internet world of extremities of either this is the greatest thing in the world, oh my fucking God, hallelujah, this is the fucking second coming of Christ,
Right.
to like this is literally a pile of dog shit, is massive hyperbole.
Yeah.
And I just don't engage in that, because like I don't engage in that in real life. Like I don't talk like that. Life is not so black and white, and there's room for discussion about things, and there's room for so many different emotions other than just love and hate. As a reaction. So I don't read comments. I don't read anything at the moment. Some occasionally on a news article or something, you click on a comment section just to go, what's happening? And you go, oh, people are still interacting in the exact same way, and it's fucking polarization and whatever. There's way more to life than that, man.
I love. Plus, you're in the ocean all the time anyway. Not really.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the thing. Yeah. I'll listen when someone's like, I don't like what you do. I like the old stuff and I don't like the new stuff, or I like the new stuff and I don't like the old stuff.
Right.
Like there's people that exist in exact both camps at the same time.
That's true.
And both of them, I'm like, thanks for spending your time checking it out.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Place.
Yeah.
And you change producers each album?
Nah, same dudes.
Same.
Since we've been with George and Dean.
You're sound man since then.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Okay.
Still doing it. He'll be doing it tonight.
That
Still
is
doing our sound.
so freaking awesome.
Stayed the sound man, and he's producing the album.
Yep.
Wow.
Front of house sound guy producing the albums.
He must have been so psyched when that came out, that song, and he had been part of it. And it's
man.
like
He said it was the most fucking stressful thing he's ever done. Up at that point in time, he was like, if this bombs, I'm the guy that killed this band.
Right.
But no, he's awesome, and Dean's a fucking phenomenal engineer. Like those brothers together have done so much for us. We recorded this last album during COVID lockdown in Australia.
okay.
And those guys flew around the world and spent 4 months in our country because we couldn't get out, leaving their families on the other side of the world.
Where are they from?
They're from Canada and Arizona.
Wow.
So they flew
Wow.
they flew to Byron to get this record done, just so we could actually have a record. Like, this is mid fucking pandemic, and that's how much they will actually do, rather than going, I'm not leaving. They're like, Parkway needs to get a record done, we'll fly over. They went through 2 weeks of quarantine in our country, and quarantine meant, like, we're having a discussion about boats before. They lived in hotel rooms with no windows, that they weren't allowed to leave, that they had to do, they had their food slid in, they had to like back up to the wall and get tested every day. They literally said it was like prison. Like, it was mental torture. It almost broke Dean. So yeah, those guys, that team have done the last 3 albums. They would give anything for our band.
And have they moved on to produce other
yeah,
bands?
George has produced a whole bunch of other stuff. Dean's actually produced and engineered a bunch of other stuff as well. And yeah, they're just like, I mean, we're not the only people that they've worked with, but I don't know if they've done other stuff similar to like Parkway's.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. Is it?
I think it's a pretty unique relationship as well. And I'm not sure how many other bands have ever done a record with their front of house sound dude.
We have.
Have you?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's why I can totally relate.
Yes, I never knew that.
To the idea of having
dude,
somebody that knows day in, day out what you're doing.
Yes.
You know, and this person is extremely technical that we had as well.
Yeah.
Which helped, and it was a great experience. You know, it really was. I mean, it was so good that he ended up moving on, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, come back. All right, dude, I'm waiting for that day.
Right.
Every time we've done one, I'm like, you're still going to want to do stuff with this? Because George has done a bunch of other stuff. He's done a bunch of country stuff, and he does pop stuff, and like, fucking, he does a lot of like different things. And I do wait for the day when he's just like, too big for you boys, can't afford me.
Right.
But no, he still wants to come on tour. Cool. He still records.
Did that put him on the map more as a producer and everything?
Saying, he's doing things, man. He's a good producer. Like, he's a good musician and producer, and like, yeah.
Does that first album he does become one of your biggest records?
Yeah, it definitely has.
Wow.
Like I was the turning point. Like the last 3 albums, well, I can't say it for Darker Still because it's new, but the last 2 albums were our biggest records that we've done.
Wow. So was there pressure for the next one after? You ever put pressure on yourself for writing?
Well, yeah, Darker Still sucked. And it was so good, but it also was like it almost broke us as a band. It like straight up almost broke us.
Yeah, because this is when we get into this part, which I find so interesting.
Yeah.
To take it back to Metallica and their documentary, these guys go to band therapy.
Yeah.
Which I think
really?
I want to know about so much because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Mental health, just everything. Bands are like families.
Yeah.
And it's a dysfunctional family at times, of course, but loving brothers and brothers, sisters, whatever, make music together.
Right.
And there's all these personalities and egos and all
Yes.
kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So, and I know also, did that have something to do with canceling the tours too? You had those.
Oh yeah.
You canceled those tours twice, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
With,
The first.
Stick to Your Guns and Black. Yeah. That
Yeah.
one.
The first one, like there was some tours that got cancelled for COVID, and then like coming out of COVID, there was one, like the last US one got cancelled because of that. Very specifically because of that. And basically what had happened.
What led up to that, yeah.
17 years, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
17 years, but there was like the album was the straw that broke the camel's back. And like it was a combination of a lot of things, a lot of personal things, writing an album.
The
And
Reverence album you talking about?
Nah, Darker Still.
Okay,
like
okay,
making
okay.
Darker Still. Like
Okay.
right, because we ran into writing that pretty early on in COVID because we were bored. Or like we had no musical outlet, so we just started writing.
Yeah.
Which was really great because we're like, oh my god, we've got longer than 2 months to write a record. We don't have to go
2
back on the road.
years.
We've got 2 years. This is the dream. We'd always dreamed
True.
like everything we couldn't do before we can do now. This is amazing. And we wrote a lot, which was great. But we like by the time the second year came around, we got into this trap of like hyper analyzing. Is this good enough? Like you've written a song that you wrote 12 months ago. You've listened to it 2,000 times now, and it's not new and fresh anymore to you. So you think you can make it better.
You get too much time.
Too much fucking time. And you start rewriting things which were already good.
Right.
And instead of writing new stuff and leaving it, it was like this, it became like this spiral that went down. And the process in which we write as well, like it's Ben, our drummer, and Jeff, our lead guitarist, who also handles the pre-production duties, and we record in his basement under his house.
Yeah.
And like, it was just a gnarly time period because like he's got personal, like some heavy personal shit going on at that point in time, which he's got to take care of, and a young family upstairs. He feels the pressure of doing this album where we're also getting into this spiral where like we're doing this hyper-analyzing thing, or he's doing this hyper-analyzing thing, and we're all reacting to it in different ways, trying to get this thing fucking done. Then we've got to actually record the album in the way that I just said, of like flying George and Dean over from America. It cost us like something like $60,000 for 2 airfares just to get them into the country. Just to get them into the country.
It was hard to get Americans over there too during that time.
Yeah, they flew
Back
over
then.
on, I think it was like 747 or 787, and there was 3 people on the plane, on that entire fucking plane.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was nuts. And so there was a lot of like pressure around the album itself of just like, it wasn't necessarily pressure of like, it has to be good. It was just like, it has to be. And
Yeah, it's a different pressure.
And the personal pressure that was all on it. And it kind of just, it pushed the personal relationship points and a bunch of things which had been building to like a breaking point. And a lot of stuff just like started like coming through the cracks that were like,
to the surface.
yeah, we're all like 17 years of relentless, like,
Right.
you got to go. You got to keep going, or keep going, or if you stop, it's not going to start back up again.
And now you're stopped.
And we're stopped. And all the band-aids of like, let's have a band meeting. We need to talk about this. And you'd like have a 10-minute conversation. And then you go, okay, that's cool. Let's just keep going. But you haven't actually talked about anything. You've just
So true.
everyone hasn't really listened. You've just said, I'm pissed because of this. Well, I'm pissed because of that. All right, let's go. It's
so
a fucking
true, right?
Band-Aid.
When you have that time frame to make a record, that's the pressure. Like, you have 2.5 weeks to make this record, or 3 weeks, or a month with this one producer. We can lock him on these dates.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of pressure than.
Yeah.
And then you just go and go and go, and you really just do your part, and then you.
Yeah. So that happened. That happened, and then basically the cracks just went bang. It was just like fissures through, and when we were talking to each other, we were like, we need to have a band meeting to talk about like what happened in the studio. Like, we're so stoked with the album. It's everything we wanted. Everyone got their shit done, the process in which it took place was fucking gnarly. And when we started talking, we're just like, we've been here for 3 hours. No one's on the same page. Everyone's angry. Everyone's pissed with each other. It became apparent that there was a massive amount of resentfulness going on for everyone.
In the band,
Bunch of different, like different people having different issues, like things firing across purposes and stuff like that. And we're like, fuck, we got shit to work out. And we got a tour in 4 weeks' time. We're like, what do you do? Like, we've never actually cancelled, like, COVID has cancelled the tour for us. We haven't fucking cancelled the tour. And
had it been cancelled once already?
Oh yeah, it'd been cancelled like 3 fucking times.
That's right.
3 times, man. It was so
on
shit. Yeah. And it was, I'm like, we get to spend this year touring with Hatebreed. Like, dude, I have so much respect for that band. Like, I fucking love that band.
Yeah.
That's the band where I'm like, I can't believe we get to watch them every night. And I'm like, and we're like, if we go on tour now, yeah, we will get the tour done, but the band won't exist after that. It just won't.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be stuck in it. Like, this thing that we're in right now will be a tour bus, and you can't escape. And then you got to be on stage every night with this broken relationship. And Luke, our guitarist, was like, we should go to therapy. And he was the one that was like, we should do that. Like, we need someone to help us figure out how to connect this communication, because like, we're saying things, but no one's listening.
Yeah.
And if you're not listening and we're not connecting, then how are we going to understand each other? We still cared about each other, but the resentment was so much. Like, you leave gaps in communication and resentment fills it in.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was it. And it was 17 years of that shit. Like, we never talked about the toll that that this band and being in the band, like, you're going away for 5 months. That's an adventure for you. But like, I'm in a long-term relationship and I got to leave my partner at home.
Yeah.
And you don't get that because you don't. And I'm not going to burden you with that because I don't think that's my place.
And
so we don't talk about it.
Who's insensitive to each person's
100%.
We're
We're just like band over all. No one talks about anything. You just go. And yeah. So
Crazy.
we went to therapy and started doing that. And it's been awesome. Fucking awesome, man. Like, one of the best things I've ever done. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. It's been really cool just being like, it was interesting because every single person in the band, like, we've maintained this really DIY attitude the entire time. Like, our guitarist became our manager because we're like, the only way we're going to survive is if someone else isn't just taking a cut of at any point in time.
Love that, man.
You learn what to do. So like, our guitarist is our manager. Like, the stage shows and shit you see on stage, that's like me and Luke to a degree designing all of that shit and putting it together.
So cool,
Our
man.
drummer made music videos and Jeff became our producer and primary writer for all the guitar parts. And we just, like, everyone took their own thing.
Yeah.
But they took it on and were like, well, I'm going to take care of this. You've got your thing to handle and this is my equivalent. And we never like shared it. We just handled it individually. So when the pressure grew and grew, you just held it up and you didn't reach out to other people for support. You just we're just like silos, just these individual pillars holding this band up instead of like a group structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so no one felt validated. Like, and everyone was just
appreciated.
Like, you do your thing and you go, I'm doing my thing so fucking well. You have no idea what I'm doing because I'm not telling you what I'm doing. And you're not listening to what I'm doing because you've got your own thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And that went the whole way around the band, round and round and round and round and round. And it was nuts. And at that point in time as well, like, our bass player Jaya, like, we hadn't fully let him into the band in an equal way because, like, he came in as someone who couldn't play bass. And we were so used to not having a bass player recording. He never recorded on, like, I think he recorded on one album. We were like, we can do it better. Just don't even bother.
So he didn't feel appreciated as part of the band.
100%. And he wasn't in on the band. Like, he wasn't in on the band agreement or anything like that. We never actually had a proper agreement as a band in the first place.
How many years was he in the band for now?
17 now.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So he's like, yo, I'm my equal member. Like, what's going on? Like, who am I?
100%.
Who's my position?
So he didn't play bass on a lot of the albums?
Any of the, I think maybe Horizons, like our second album, he played some of the bass on.
Wow.
But our guitarist Jeff was just like, I can do this.
Okay.
And I can write better bass because I'm already a guitarist. So and then we just didn't fuck with the system. So he just kind of dealt with that.
Got it.
But at the same time, like, we gave him these chances of, like, if you want in, like, you've been doing this for a while, just show us some bass shit and you can do it. But he's like, I'm happy. Like, I'm actually happy with doing this. Like, when you guys are off in the studio, like I know it's not equal, but I'm off surfing on a surf trip and I've got my freedom. But at the same point in time, he knows he's not equal.
Right.
Like he knows he's not in the same way. Like no one knows fucking anything. Like it was just so vague, and it was so separated that the like for all of the like the bonding that we had, like there was a lot of just like isolation, massive isolation within this very tight-knit group. It was nuts. Our crew noticed it. Our crew knew, like for like it was building over a couple of years, and they were like, fuck dude, you guys were so gnarly. Like
it became a job for people, kind of like this. I'm just coming, showing up and playing.
No, it was never to that degree, but there was just like, it became a job in the sense of like we knew what was at stake.
Yeah.
We've always enjoyed doing it, but there was just personal resentment because when your friend, your brother doesn't go, good job, man, because you've never said, hey, good job, man. Yeah. Or even if they do, you're just like, I don't know if you're kidding or not now, but fucking whatever. Yeah. Like we couldn't even accept compliments at that point in time. Like it was
fucking musicians, man.
Dude, it was the imposter syndrome as well. like we all like, we literally, like our way of growing up as people, like within our town was, actually within the band, we were all equal as nothing. So if someone thinks they're something more than nothing, just tear them down. Like keep them in their place, and that way everyone is fucking equal.
Wow.
So we all had no self-esteem. We constantly just like, if anyone got any sense of self-confidence or ego, you just like cut it down. You just cut it down just for the sake of everyone being equal, rather than rather than lifting everyone up and growing as a human. You just kind of cut everyone down, which is like, that's a lot of Australian society. It's called tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
So
happens in a lot of other places.
Yeah, man. As soon as like one poppy grows above the bunch, like the bunch will fucking cut it down. Yeah. So yeah,
it's kind of almost like humanity itself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dude.
Yeah, keeping each other humble is one thing, but then like
we thought it was that. We thought it was staying humble.
Yeah.
But there's humbleness, and then there's appreciation.
Yeah.
And that was definitely what's missing, because validation and appreciation helps you grow as a person. It doesn't necessarily mean you grow an ego, like or an out of control sense of self where you think you're better than someone else, but it helps you grow as a person.
Yeah. Had any of you guys ever been to therapy before?
No. Oh, maybe some of the other guys. Yeah. I don't know. But speaking personally, no.
You remember that first session?
Yeah.
It's hard.
No, it was fucking good.
Just got shit off your chest.
Yeah, like we had a really good like counselor. Like Sean, our counselor, was really good. Like it was liberating to have people just like to not only feel like I could put stuff out there and have it actually be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And stuff that like I'd said previously, which I was like, no one's listening to this, but also stuff that I'd never put out.
Yeah.
Because I was scared of the weight that was to my friends, that I didn't want to put on my friends, because I'm like, this is heavy for me. They don't deserve to carry this as well as what they've got going on. And for also to be able to hear from them, like their genuine emotions and genuinely what they've been carrying. Like men in society aren't really told like be emotional, be vulnerable. Like there's strength and vulnerability like are seen as polar opposites rather than necessarily one and the same at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
And like we all grew up in that era of just like harden the fuck up. That was it. So no one ever talked about anything. Like it was just like, if you're going through something, keep it to yourself. So there's like we've been through some really heavy stuff, man. Like people in this band have been through things like I don't want to go into, but
course.
They're the kind
stuff
of things
you didn't know about to a counselor.
No, there was stuff we knew about which were like, this is life altering, and when you're not going to be the same person after this has happened, and we can't be the same people after this. But how the fuck do you even deal with it? Like, how do you even? We don't have the tools to talk about this, so don't fucking talk about it. Just like the trauma is too great. Yeah. Don't flip that card over. Just repress it, basically. Just fucking repress it and move on. So like, and that's not the way you don't heal with that.
No,
you just don't heal. It's like, not everyone's going to come to terms with grief at some point in time. Yeah. But like grief and this band's existence is bound together in a way that can't be untwisted, like just due to certain events. And that's just the way it is, man. Like, that's the way it is. You go through something and you're like, we can't go back from that. You can't fucking go back from that unless you know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. That's fucking there. That's the thing. And we never dealt with a lot of that stuff.
You're probably a better band from even doing that now, or maybe more, more connected and bonded.
Dude, we are better as people and as a band now than we were when we started. We're at a better place. Like, it was playing catch up.
Yeah.
Like, it was playing catch up on like 17 years of emotional growth and friendship. That's the thing, because we were all friends. We just didn't know how to be friends properly. And we are now. Like, I feel so much more liberated to be able to, like, not know that, like, I'm standing on stage and I'm doing my part, but, like, if I'm not doing my part, my friends have got my back. I, like, not only do I have the confidence that they're doing their part, but I know that they know if something's going wrong, they can count on me and I can count on them just on stage doing what we do. And at the end of the day, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, it really is just fun.
And
to hit that point, like 20 years into your career is fucking really rad, man. It's really, really rad.
Yeah, I know people kind of made fun of Metallica for that shit in the documentary, but I'm sure it helped them as well too.
Oh, dude, ahead of their time.
Absolutely.
They're and the reason
a lot of bands do this, that
yeah.
people don't even know about. I mean, I only realized about this existing was from a guy I knew in New York, or played. Actually, Sarah Cox, her father was like, that was his job to bring bands together.
It's cool.
And,
yep.
I mean, he was working with Aerosmith and Bon Jovi, and then just talking with him, I was just like, wow, that's your job.
It's real.
Yeah. I mean, how. You got to do it at some point in time. You surely have to do it to survive. That's the thing, because like the challenging thing with all of it as well is the isolation that just this life brings.
Yeah,
like it's just so it's just very hard to explain to anyone what it's like doing what we do. Like you guys know it. Like even your closest friends don't know what it's like to sleep on a tour bus.
Right.
Or to go to the fucking bathroom on a tour bus, or like what a backstage room actually looks like.
Yeah.
Like the things that you don't see on stage. Like when you're going on a month-long tour, people will see 2 hours maximum a day of your life, but the tour is actually 24 hours, and they don't see the rest of that time, so they don't know what your life is. And you get home and you talk to your closest friends, and they have no fucking idea, and they're never gonna have any idea.
Right.
So you feel like the isolation is just real.
True.
And again, it gets to you. So you need someone to be able to help, like the only people that know how to relate to your experience, like come together around that. That's the thing. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Does everybody feel like you just be blatantly honest with each other now in the band? Say anything you feel?
To a degree, like I think like
you're slipping, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, I think it's just like there's just no pressure on it. Like we also reached a point, like if there was an acknowledgement process of like sitting down, going like during one of the sessions, going like this can just be fun. Like we spent our entire life trying to escape and provide some kind of certainty.
Yeah.
Because we honestly felt like we had fucking nothing. Like, you know that point in time where you get in a band's career where you're like, if I keep doing this, I'm going to be out of the workforce for 10 years and I don't have another qualification and I can't go back to school and I am going back to square fucking one, but now I'm old.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be scary as hell.
Yeah.
So once you pass that point, it matters. Like, it really matters. And people are having kids and they're like, I need to be able to provide support.
Right.
And all of that pressure kind of builds.
Yeah.
And we, like, the band is very fucking successful. The band is very successful. And we got to a point where we're like, just like, we can say we fucking made it. We can do it. You can acknowledge that with each other. That's cool. We don't have to just
that's not bragging. That's just being proud. And
no,
hard
but
work you put in.
we never did. We never did because of the imposter part of it as well. We just pushed. We constantly fucking pushed. And there's ambition in that as well, in the sense of like, I don't see there being a point in when people are like, is this as big as you can get? Or like, what do you plan next? I'm like, I don't stop thinking of more things to do because it's fucking fun. Like, there's no point in going, I think there's a cap on what we can do, because there was a fucking cap when we started, which was 50 people in a shed.
Yeah.
And that dude
came a long way from sheds to arenas.
Yeah, that's the thing. The amount of glass ceilings that we've gone through now
Yeah.
fuck, man, there's a pile of glass like on the path behind us. So when someone's like, what do you think's possible? I'm like, anything's fucking possible. I'm going to keep working towards anything because why the fuck not? That's what I like doing. But at the same point in time, I'll acknowledge the fact that like we've got to a point where you can go, yeah, you've made it. You fucking well done to everyone and that's behind it. Like it's fucking cool.
Yeah. I'm sure those past 2 years, like sitting there too from touring so long and then being stuck at home, you start realizing what you have and what you accomplished too. And achieved in your band and all the hard work you put in. It's like,
it was insane what we didn't realize.
Right.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Because it was all those little jumps and we're in it and we're pushing so hard. Like, so the last thing we did before COVID hit, we put out our third documentary. Like we film a lot and we put documentaries out.
Yeah, I love that.
Called Viva the Underdogs. And it was the Reverence tour cycle of the album before, which culminated like in a festival run in Europe, which had us headlining Wacken as like the last thing. And that show was insane. Like the biggest show we've ever played. Like we all expected it. Like we're like still a newish band in our mind. And we're headlining this thing. Something's going to go wrong. It's going to rain.
Right.
People actually are just going to be like, they're not metal. Fuck off.
Right.
And literally it took until 5 minutes before we were going to play for us to realize, like, we're like, peek our heads out and we're like, holy fuck, everyone's here. There's like 80,000 people here.
damn.
And everyone's chanting and shit. And then it's sunny and we're like, Jesus Christ, this is going to happen.
Right.
This is actually going to happen. We're going to play this gig and it's going to be good. And it was the best show we'd ever played.
It's awesome.
It was so fucking good. And we got it all on film and we released this documentary. And I did the press for it and everything. It came out in fucking cinemas. Like Netflix picked it up in Australia. It was insane. And then COVID hit. And we do nothing for a year. Like we start writing some music and stuff, but we didn't play. And all of that 17 years of like constant, there's a tour in a month, like it's still muscle memory, mental memory of like of the feeling of being on stage. It drains away. And yeah, after a year, like Netflix picked this thing up and I'm like, I'm going to watch that documentary again. Right? I'm going to check it out. And it's playing through and I'm looking at what we're doing as a band and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We were doing that?
Yeah.
That is what was like, I'm getting chills saying it now.
Yeah.
Like it blew my mind because at the time of like putting it together and playing it, I was like, this is another step.
Yeah.
But you don't like when all of it like rewinds and you feel like you're back at stage one, you realize how far it's come. And I was looking at that and it was in the middle of COVID when you haven't seen like two people standing within 3 meters of each other. Yeah. And I'm looking at like this camera pan of like 80,000 people and fucking pyro going off and like a sea of humans jumping up and down. And I'm just like, whoa.
It's amazing,
like we came
man.
that far.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, yeah. Yeah. I don't think I ever would have got a chance to appreciate like that ever
totally
again.
You've probably been on tour. Who knows?
Yeah.
I totally can relate to that.
that's it.
I mean, but the opposite way. Like, I think was flying back from this last tour or somewhere in like Europe and we were on a French flight and then I going to movies and I'm like, what's this? It's like, wait a minute, is this Sepultura live in Paris on the movie on the screen?
Wow.
I was like, I haven't seen this, and it was right before COVID.
Yeah, no way.
Like, the last show we played before COVID hit, but it was like a club gig, and I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, this is what got me into music. Like it brought my head back. Like
it was on the plane, bro.
Yeah, on the plane.
Wow.
Yeah. People like jumping on each other on the stage, no barricades,
crawling on each other.
Do any of these type of shows, and it was just like, oh my God, we were so tight. It was so like fierce, and just like not even thinking about it, just kind of like, I'm just doing it, being a part of it. I was like, oh my God, that's. I forgot.
That's it. That's the vibe.
Right.
Yeah, it taps you back in.
Yeah.
The last tour we did was 3 years ago with Gorilla Biscuits, Agnostic Front, the Wisdom and Chains one. And everybody's
holy shit! What a lineup!
Everybody in the tour was like, I don't care if this is our last tour. This is the most incredible tour we've ever done together. All on the bus together. It was beautiful. All the shows are great. And that was the main theme. This is the best tour ever. We're going to retire after this. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then as soon as we got home, boom, everything shut down. So I am a little anxious to play. It's been 3 years and actually play 12 shows in a row no days off.
Oh,
Like
you
that's
got it,
exciting though. You know what
Warm
I
the
mean?
voice up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do all that. I'm bringing up my warm-ups.
Yeah.
And I'm doing 2 sets. I'm doing
Yeah.
Hazen Street and H2O.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
So it's like
Double
24
duties.
shows in 12 days.
Hazen Street, man.
Yeah, you fucking-
Yes. Fuck
Thank
yes.
you.
Underrated. Like, underrated album. That is fucking
Wow.
awesome, that album.
Thank you, man.
Oh, that's all right.
It's like our first real European tour with Hazen Street too.
Oh, that's tight. That's so
gonna be
sick.
amazing.
It's
man.
exciting, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
but I'm nervous too, just like you guys were talking about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It
And
will
I
be
like
good.
going into the crowd, and I love sharing the mic,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
jumping in the
Of
crowd.
course, man.
I'm just going to say, wait until that, like,
Oh yeah.
just, fuck, man, that hour before it's time for you to hit the stage for the first time, I've never felt, I don't think I've ever felt nerves like that. Ever.
Yeah.
Since, like, even since first show, like, just knowing the energy is there and you're back.
Yeah.
And feeling that energy come back at that intensity, like,
Oh yeah.
you're gonna have an experience.
And it's
You're
like,
gonna have an experience.
and this,
Yeah.
So
you know,
true.
I kind of try to not feel there's no way of filling the void of playing live, but like working out, running, skating, whatever I'm doing, is nothing compared
It's
to this
nothing.
feeling.
Nah,
You know what
It's
I mean?
it's
Like,
nothing
way.
like it, man. And it's when you really realize, like, what that is, like what
Yeah.
that connection and that energy, that fucking spark in the room
yeah.
is, and how it can't be replicated.
Yeah.
That's when you
Yeah.
realize, like, what we were missing during COVID as well. Like,
Yeah,
it's one thing to have it
absolutely.
taken away, but then to have it, like, given back, and you realize, like, oh fuck, it was this.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's the
yes,
last?
exactly,
Where's the last place
exactly.
you guys played in LA?
Oh, it's an infamous gig. Like, it was
Really?
well, because the PA blew up halfway through our set and we couldn't keep going. It was the Palladium, and it was it was on like it was like a Kill Switch Parkway co-headline tour, and it was like sold out Palladium,
Wow.
and it was wild. And we played like 4 songs, and then halfway through one of the songs, the PA literally exploded, and
Palladium. Wow.
we couldn't continue. So I just like sat there for 2 hours just saying sorry to every single person. And we
the
haven't been able to
worst
come back as
feeling.
well. So every time we announce a tour and people are like, fuck yeah, you're coming back. And I'm like, yep. And then it was like, and it's been rescheduled, and it's been cancelled, and it's been cancelled. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, the Wiltern's an awesome venue too.
Oh yeah, we played the
Okay.
Wilton like once before as well, so I'm fucking stoked. I'm just, dude, at this point in time, like, I'm stoked to play.
Yeah.
Full stop. Just full fucking stop, man. Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing. So it's not like like I'm coming back from COVID just going arenas only. It's if there's no pyro, there's no show. I'm just psyched to do music. I'm just
Yeah.
psyched. I like going into every single like tour that we've done thus far. And being like, you know what, I can rock up to these shows and there can be one person, there can be no people, and
Yeah.
I'll be standing on stage with 4 of my best friends
Yeah.
and our entire crew, which is my fucking family and my best friends.
Literally.
And this is fun.
yeah.
This is just fun.
I
That's
feel
it.
like you guys are in such a good place now, man.
It is.
Like
It's
almost
really
like reborn in a sense coming out of this.
100%. 100%, man. Trial by fucking fire.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Cheers.
And then also, are you still vegetarian?
Yeah.
You 40 years or something like that?
Yeah, 40 years because I turned 40 this year.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were vegetarian
Yep.
most of your life? Yeah. that's
Entire
awesome.
life.
That's awesome.
wow.
man.
Parents were, and they brought me up vegetarian. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've tried, like, I've literally, like, here's a Big Mac. This is what it tastes like. Your 9-year-old friend hands you a Big Mac. You're like, and? I'm like, ugh. So, yeah, and I just don't, it doesn't gel with me.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like the ethics as well of everything surrounding, I'm gonna say just animal rights
Yeah.
is something that's just where I see it ethically as well. Like I don't like making anyone or anything suffer.
Any
Yeah,
of your
just in
other
general.
band members?
Our drummer is vegan, but I'm not sure how like he's a very ethical person.
Yeah.
And that's been something like more recently within the last like 10 years, and the other guys just do whatever they do.
You know, it's a
Smashing
flashback
steak
now by
here
hearing
and
about your band. There's this band from Australia. They're vegan straight as they wear board shorts on stage. All the they got these videos of them surfing. They wear flip flops on stage. All this shit. Like just hearing about you back then. Like
yeah, yep.
they're like
The straight edge and the vegan part, not so much. But I was quite vocal about my part in it, in the sense of like I had fucking X's on my hands all the time.
Really?
And I'm doing, dude.
how old were you?
This was like 20, and I was still Xing up hard with permanent marker, and it would stay there for like So you'll love this one. So before this band fully took off as well, like I said, we were surfers. Like I ride a bodyboard or a boogie board.
Yeah.
But I was, and I am still really fucking good at doing that. Like I was semi-professional.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what Dan told
sponsored
me.
on tour. Like I got 2 covers of magazines at that point in time.
Sick.
And the first one I got was the day after a Hope Conspiracy show in Byron.
Oh, nice.
And I had these big fuck off X's on my hands, and there's this photo on the cover of this magazine of me in this barrel screaming.
X'd up.
With an X on my hand. With an X on my hand. And I literally, like, the magazine, like, because that was like, man, almost 20 years ago now.
Wow.
The magazine did an article a couple of months ago, and they were like, yo, when was that cover? And I was like, there was an X on my hand, and I remember that was from the Hope Conspiracy show, so I can look up when that flyer was, so it'll be within this range of time. And they were able to find it because I knew when the X was drawn on my hand for the Hope Con show.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, reffing hard, dude.
So you've been straight edge still or no?
Yeah, I still don't do anything.
Wow.
But it's, I mean, I just don't really
Claim it.
I just don't claim I don't claim anything.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't
respect that.
Yeah, I just don't like. For me, in general, I don't know. I like setting an example for people in terms of like who I am as a person, and like if someone's like, "Hey, you seem like you're really happy, and you seem like you're in a good place. What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, this works for me."
I like that.
And that's kind of it. But I don't like it. I just don't like excluding people or alienating people because there's so much in this world that kind of divides people as it is. But I definitely like credit my life and the way I live to the choices that I've made and continue to make. Like there's I still don't see an advantage in taking up like substances or altering my perception. Like I find reality fascinating and strange and weird enough as it is without like changing the chemicals in my brain, dude.
No, I know. I
So
love
that's
that.
just the way I roll. But like it's not the same for everyone. My reality is going to be completely different from every other person on this planet. So who the fuck am I to enforce mine on someone else's?
I like doing that to like civilians or people like friends of my wife or family or people from parents from school. Like, what's up with your skin? How come your skin's so good? How come you look younger? Well, this thing called veganism or straight edge or whatever. Like,
the thing is, I haven't drunk for like 20 years, and I got a lot of friends who say that as well. And they're like, that being said, my skin is horrible now because I've been having so much sugar since I came to America.
You look good. Is your dad was a pro boarder too?
Yeah. He wasn't pro because he didn't compete or anything, but like he's credited with like the way that boogie boarding like basically switched from what surfing was. Wow. Because it started riding a very different type of wave when my dad started doing it. Like essentially, like there's very different waves that boogie boarders and surfers try and surf in general. And boogie boarding generally is on waves which aren't liked by surfers because they're fucking gnarly. Okay. Like it's just gnarly and it involves a lot of negotiation for a lot less of a payoff. Shorter waves, heavier waves, like waves on dry rock, all of that kind of shit. Like that's why the boogie board was invented. Like the guy that designed it was like, I can't ride those waves on a surfboard, so I'm going to ride something that gets me across the dry parts. Gotcha. So my dad was from England and he moved to Australia, moved to Cronulla, and there's this wave called Shark Island. Yeah, we're down Shark Island. Fucking Shark Island, man. And there's no one out there at that point in time on these days where it's like shark infested. No, I'm not going to say shark infested, but but heavy. Like this is still a fucking heavy wave. This place breaks bones and takes skin like you would not believe. Damn. And he's like, no one's surfing it on those days. I'm going to go out and surf that. And he starts just surfing these like swell directions, which are like no one on any other type of board is surfing. And a whole bunch of other people saw him, like younger kids, and were like, fuck, you can do that on a boogie board? Let's go out and try to do that. And it kind of pioneered that aspect of riding a boogie board, where it wasn't like I'm spinning around in circles and riding a little bit of whitewater. It was like, no, they're going the waves that the surfers can't go. Because in like the 70s and 80s, that's what it was. It was like surfers were riding in their way with a certain type of boards, and they literally could not ride the waves that my dad was riding. So it was just doing gnarly shit. And he taught me very early on. Like he was like, if you don't go the wave, there's no way you're actually going to make the wave in the first place. Like you might go, oh, I might not make it. And he was like, well, if you don't go it, you're not going to make it. Right. And I kind of like have adopted that with most things. I'm like, if you don't try, you can't succeed. Like you've cut off any chance of success without having a go at something in the first place. Yeah. And I guess that kind of goes with the rest of this band stuff as well. And just like, if you don't actually just have a shot at it, you're never going to do anything.
Yeah. That's a good thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been a good dad.
Is your dad still out there doing that or no?
Nah, not anymore. Like, he's very supportive of it, but his dad's almost 70 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And actually, he's like, it's more the skin side of things. He's got English skin, and English skin and Australian sun does not mix very well.
Okay.
The melanin level is not high,
Right.
and the sunburn level and the skin cancer in Australia is fucking
Off the chart.
dude. Yeah.
Damn.
So his skin just breaks out a lot. So he just doesn't do it so much.
Ozone alerts.
Ozone,
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think we got the ozone back a fair bit, which is decent, but it's just hot.
Yeah.
Like, and the ocean's salty, and he's got bad skin, but he still swims and stuff. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, still an active dude.
Here's a random one. Do you have any regrets in your life?
I regret like not having all of the things that happened with the band. I regret not having like realized that early on.
Back then.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like we have grown up. I feel it feels really good now to be in an age where people like mental health and awareness is so much greater now than at any point in time.
It is, man.
It really, really is. And I feel really cool like about life moving forward, knowing that everyone that comes after us is going to be brought up in that world because we weren't. And while I can sit here with hindsight going, man, we should have known that shit. We should have done this and done this better. There's a reason we didn't. Like, we weren't brought up in a space that even acknowledged this as a thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the only thing. Like, there's always things in your life where like I wish I made better choices with like communication with my wife and stuff when I was away on tour, and been a better husband or a better partner.
Shout out to your wife,
But
man. You guys are-
fucking massive shout out.
Shout
Like,
out to the wives, man.
yeah, dude. Like, she's
Hold you down.
fuck. I can't even explain it, man. I can't understand what it must be like to sit. If she goes away for one night, I'm like, I hope she gets there in that car
Oh,
on
dude,
time.
same. Or sleeping in
I'm-
bed by myself. Just all that, bro. I freak out.
And I'm like, you're doing this for months on end, and at the start, like, I'm not even calling you like once a week. I'm calling you once a month because we can't afford it. And when I am, I'm like, hey, we slept in a ditch last night. Last week I couldn't afford to eat, so I just bought 24 cobs of corn for $5, and I just ate corn for a week. and like, what is going through her head at that point in time in terms of my safety?
Right.
yeah.
Holy shit!
That's a real one, man. Shout out to your wife. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Over
Thanks,
20
Jess.
years.
Yeah.
You consider yourself optimist or pessimist?
I'm an optimist
I can tell that.
I'm about most things, but like I think I'm an optimist because like the darker I'm able to exercise the darker parts of nature through the art, and I believe in the value of the darkness. That's the thing. Like I think I'm an optimist because I've seen a lot of fucking darkness, and coming through it is, I mean, there's a difference between being blindly optimistic about just going, everything's fucking great.
Yeah.
I have no idea, and I refuse to acknowledge the darker aspects of life. And then there's like confronting those hard realities and taking them on as part of life's experience and seeing what they mean, like the weight of grief and the weight of loss literally being the void left by a massive amount of love. And being able to know, holy shit, I've been able to love that deeply, that the crater is this deep when it's gone, like things like that. And I think that's like, I think it's less about being a pessimist and an optimist, and more about knowing how much of the spectrum of life I've been able to experience at this point in time.
Yeah. I love that. Darker still.
Yeah, man, that's what it is. Like, that's actually what it is. Like, that album, the album title came from the concept of life only becoming darker, and that the darkness isn't bad. Like, the darkness is the unknown. Like, when you're born into the world, it's pure light. You are protected, you are ignorant, and you are loved. And from that day forward, you learn confusion, and you learn loss, and you learn consequence, and everything you learn going on is another thing that will eventually, you realize you will lose, you will risk, all of those things. And it becomes darker, and it becomes more complicated, and it becomes heavier as you go. But all of those things make the light parts shine.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like, the thing,
Beautiful.
it's not the fucking, like, staring at the sun isn't great. It just makes you fucking blind. Like it's the fact that like I would rather stand in the there at night and be able to look at the stars than stand there and stare at the sun and be fucking blind. Put it that way.
Yeah. Damn. This is how we ended. How can end this one? You have any questions,
Yeah,
Eric?
No, man. I mean,
was
that
amazing, dude.
It was pretty profound. Right
It was
there.
very profound. Did you write poetry when you were younger? No.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
The weird thing is, now I look back on it, high school, like English, it was the only thing I did well in, and I never realized it, and I didn't like it too much. I didn't like school too much in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love writing. I love expressing things. I love the fact that there is ways of creating poetry and expression and written word that goes even deeper with music that can express something beyond what the simple language is intended to express.
Yeah.
Like that's when you realize something is special. When you're like, I don't have a way of expressing with my own language and my own tongue what this feeling and emotion and this sense in life actually is. It's like a color that doesn't exist on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you are able to describe it and describe the feeling of it.
It's beautiful, man.
I know.
It's like a professor, kind of.
Hey, I'll take that. Thank you.
You have any more questions, D, for him?
No, that's it for
That was
me.
incredible, man.
I'll leave you with the color wheel.
So, as both of you musicians, I know what it's like to, like, first and foremost, you flew from, like, another country. You on a boat. Now you
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat. But this is your first day of tour in LA, and you
Yep.
took time to come out today, and I really appreciate it.
Oh,
man.
my pleasure. Thank
It's
you.
great, really,
Super
to meet
cool.
you and hang with you.
Dude, I'm
psyched to
sitting
see
with
you
two
guys.
legends right now,
Thank
so
you.
I'm
Stop.
I'm stoked to see you guys tonight.
Cheers.
And now actually knowing you, I love that. I love learning about people, and
Yeah, likewise.
it's so cool, man.
It's very
Thanks for
cool.
having me.
Of course.
Both
And,
yous.
any more questions on my notes? Let me see. Let me double check my shit. Oh, real quick. You have any top 5 favorite artists or musicians?
Oh
or anything?
God, don't hit me with top 5s.
Okay.
No, I tell you what, my number one biggest influence that I
Let's
keep
get it.
yelling about is Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay.
Of course, he's Australian. He's
Yeah.
a legend. He's my top 5 favorite.
He's your
He's my
of course.
All right,
Dude,
all right.
top one for me. And here's the thing as well, which I'm going to shout out. I've seen him play many times, especially since like Push the Sky Away and into like everything that's followed that.
Derek's bummed.
I genuinely feel as though we are living in an era with his creation and the entire band's creation, and one else's creation, that's the equivalent of like when fucking Beethoven was alive, and people
Wow.
were creating that kind of music that is so profound and so moving and so far forward in what is being created that it will be remembered with that kind of reverence. And every time I see them live, I'm like, dude, this is something else. Like, this is really something else. Feel happy and humbled that you're alive when these artists are creating this right now. And I've never felt that about any other band. It's something that is. I got to
deep dive into this guy,
dude. You
yeah.
really have to.
No, I know
like,
his songs, but like,
there's a, and you have to see it live. If you
Yeah.
want to see a fucking punk rock show as well, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds
Yeah.
live. 70 fucking years old.
going to the crowd, just everything.
Dude,
I saw
he has
footage.
he has a walkway onto the barrier. He plays the fucking set on the barrier. It's
Sick.
nuts. And I'm like, this is the level that's got to be. You got to
Yeah.
get to you. That's the setting the fucking
you-
bar, man.
So you guys would both be bummed at me that I was standing next to him and I thought he was Rick Ocasek from the Cars,
Fully bummed.
and he was with Chris Martin, and all I cared about was Chris Martin because I was talking to
Oh
him.
my god.
And he's standing there waiting by the car in front of Crossroads, and he's all in black. I'm like, I looked down and said, "Oh, he's with the guy from the Cars."
Right.
Little do I know that Chris Martin's tight with that fool. It was such a crazy combo that every person I told the story to, like, you didn't say hi, Nick. I was like, I didn't know who it was. I'm sorry, guys. That was a
No,
moment.
it's-
That's a true
no,
moment.
it's cool.
I still can't believe. I mean, I'm one of the biggest fans. I still haven't seen him.
That's
live.
crazy.
It's
Yeah, dude.
ridiculous. And I've been a fan since Birthday Party.
Yeah.
And know everything. You
Yeah.
understand? I'm a big fan of his writing, and it just like changed my life. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Like,
such a
yeah, exactly.
integral part of like my existence.
Yeah,
you
me
know?
too.
He's
Me too.
phenomenal. I would definitely be. He would be the one artist I would definitely freak out on. Like,
Yeah.
Wow,
jump in a
okay.
wave.
I tell you what's really
Get
interesting.
starstruck.
Have you ever met him?
No, but I don't know what the fuck I do if I do it, other than to say,
know.
like,
Yeah.
I really would just say,
I
hey,
would do
man,
it,
you're fucking
yeah.
rad. But
You're right.
like, but I mean, what else can you say? Like, that's the thing. But he did a tour called the Red Right Hand Tour, where he played venues, and it was just him and a piano, and he'd just talk with the audience.
Sick.
Like he walked on stage, played a song, and then got up with the mic and was like, "I just want to chat. Like, let's talk about life and everything." And the impression I got from him was just a person.
Yeah.
Like an incredibly talented, deep individual, but the way he interacted with everyone was just like a person.
Wow.
It's not what you would expect in like that. The aura surrounding that human is intense. Yeah. Just in terms of like, you know, when someone walks into a room and you're just like, fuck man, there's something about that person that is something else. But it really, like under that, what you perceive that as, was just like, it's just a person who just wanted to talk and listen, which was also what that made it so powerful.
Right.
Because the music that he's creating now in terms of what he's dealing with is deep as it fucking gets.
How old is that guy?
70-something, I think. Or 60-something?
Does he have kids?
No, 60-something.
Yeah. That's complicated.
He had a couple of kids, and 2 of them have died recently.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, that's right.
That's
right. Okay.
No, and that's what,
that's heavy. I remember that.
There's some, like the last 2 records that were put out. The last 2 Bad Seeds albums that were put out were dealing with those journeys.
Can't even imagine.
And if you want an amazing spiritual listen, fuck man, holy shit.
Okay. End on Nick
Skeleton Tree and Ghost.
Yeah, I need to deep dive into Nick Cave for sure, man.
Yeah.
My wife loves them. Everybody loves them.
You know when you get floored by something?
Yeah.
Like genuine, like there were parts of listening to Ghosteen for the first time where I felt my rib cage fall to the fucking floor. Damn. Like where I was listening and I was just like, the air was sucked out of my lungs. Like listening to a lyric and I was just like, Jesus.
It kind of blew me away when I realized that he was from Australia. I had
a lot of people say that.
I didn't know that till just now. Yeah.
I mean, I really was like, no.
Yeah, right.
No. I was like, this dude knows a lot about a lot of stuff. Especially like, I don't know, like American, like black gospel.
Yeah.
Like I could feel this in his song and his, I was like, this is, wow. He tackled it in a way where it's coming from himself, but having this love and appreciation for this style of music that's very specific.
Yeah.
And it's just mind blowing. Like he goes in so many different directions, but that specific direction was something that was very interesting to me, you know, and I was just like drawn to, you know, at an early age because I had to go to church. My mother was in the gospel choir. And so all of that just rang true when I was hearing. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like he's in it,
dude. The last couple of tours that he's done that I've seen, he's been opening with like a whole run of songs of like "Let Love In" with like 4 gospel backing singers.
Oh, that's cool.
With the sequined outfits and everything, and the fucking vibe, and it is so rad. Right. It is so rad. So anyway, that's my big. That's my big. That's just fangirling. That's my number one. That's my number one. And honestly, everything else like Tom Waits is my number 2.
Powerful.
But I
get your vibe now.
Like there's everything else under that is like fucking rad. But
he's on Epitaph too, Tom Waits. He was.
How much of a trip is that? How much of a trip is that, man? Yeah, but I don't think I'm ever going to get a chance to see him live. So I just really don't.
Did you grow up any hip hop at all, or mostly?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and that's like that's a big influence as well. Like a lot of fucking like Wu-Tang and Nas and like that. I really like the what is it fucking before the analog kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the analog, like fucking crate scratching, like the analog sound.
Yeah,
I really love. Like I still love modern stuff as well. Like I'm a massive fan of Kanye's music. Before like he's going through whatever the fuck he's going through now. Yeah, but the dude's been a fucking visionary in terms of sound.
Absolutely,
and just anything like anything lyric based, I find
I can
awesome.
see that with you.
I connect with words, man. That's the thing. But Wu-Tang I always love because like the beats and the samples were fucking awesome, and the tones of the voices, like
all different styles. Yeah,
iconic. fucking iconic. So yeah.
We just got to see Wu-Tang live together
Yeah.
a couple months ago at the Hollywood Bowl with Busta Rhymes and Nas.
Yeah.
It was surreal.
Fuck, man.
And the
What a
crowd was
gig.
like so diverse and young, and it's beautiful
Yeah, yeah.
outside. It was just freaking.
It was sick.
One of the greatest rap shows I've seen probably
Definitely.
in my life.
Hands down.
And they killed it too. They're all in their
Yeah.
50s. It's like,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's
Of course, because they're
incredible.
talented. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
their talent doesn't die. Talent doesn't
My
die.
homeboy
That's-
75. He said, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Oh man, Winston, thank you so much, man.
my
This
pleasure.
has been so good, and appreciate your time. Thanks for being here and sharing your story with us. And
Thanks for having me, man.
looking
Much
forward to
appreciated.
seeing what you
Both
guys
yous.
are up to next and everything.
Yeah, me too. Should be interesting.
I think I'm gonna try to get therapy for my band. I'm just gonna say the last thing in the pod.
Ooh,
It'd be nice to
okay.
do it. I want to try
All
it.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it
Okay.
up.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to Removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations, U.S., Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to Removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out. Yo, people always ask me what kind of frames I'm rocking. I've been rocking Caddis for a couple years. They make amazing progressive readers, which I wear. Also, they make sunglass readers, anti-glare, anti-smudge coating, anti-scratch, and anti-aging. That's why I look mad young when I wear them. I'm just kidding. But they make amazing frames. Caddis, so stoked to have you guys part of the podcast. You can go to caddislife.com/Toby10 and get $10 off your first purchase. Stoked. Thank you, Caddis. Welcome to the fam. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. They have now blessed me with my own code. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst. Stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.